Now, I don't know about you, but the constant anger and division in society gives me a headache. Isn't it possible to disagree without hating each other and canceling somebody? To extend grace when somebody makes a mistake? We believe it is. It's truly possible to have crucial conversations from society and walk away encouraged. Give us a try, and you'll see. Join us for Mornings with Brian, weekdays starting at 6 a.m. on 103.3 FM.
Mornings with Brian, Moody Radio Cleveland, 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
And let's talk about Pakistan for a moment.
There's so much that Americans don't know about the country of Pakistan, leading with it's the 5th largest country in the world.
Oh, yeah.
China, India, United States, Indonesia, and the 5th largest country at 220 million people is Pakistan.
Wow.
It's also a tiny percent of Christians. Most of the Christians are left over from the British colonial days when the Anglican Church had a presence in Pakistan. But since that time, the oppressive Muslim faith in that country are pushing many Christians out. You know, it's actually called the Islamic Republic of Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. We do hear from listeners in Pakistan. Here's one. I had some misunderstandings regarding Christianity and the authenticity of the Bible. But after listening to your broadcast, I clearly understand the life and teachings of Jesus Christ.
That's so familiar to me. I remember gathering with a number of listeners in Pakistan when we were at our studio there. And what the Muslims said to us that day are, you're Christians. You're supposed to understand the Bible. Teach us what the Bible says. And that's the way they learn about Jesus Christ. It's a simple proclamation of what Jesus says in the Bible that the Pakistani people are most interested in. And when they hear it, they come to faith.
FEBC reaches millions, one person at a time, with the gospel message. If you'd like to pray for this ministry, we would love to have you do so. Ask for our International Prayer Guide. You can sign up for it online at febc.org. And while you're there, listen to our podcast, Until All Have Heard. Both are available at our website, febc.org. The Far East Broadcasting Company, febc.org.
Join me, Trillia Newbell, for a bright start to your weekend with my new program called Living by Faith. Listen as I open the Bible, engage with special guests, and inspire you with hopeful stories and truth for lasting change. Whether you're facing uncertainty, seeking answers, or simply looking for biblical encouragement, this program is your guide to living a life rooted in faith.
Join Trillia Newbell on Living by Faith Saturday mornings at 9 here on Moody Radio Cleveland. serving Sandusky, Cuyahoga, and Ashtabula counties and beyond. This is Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, or stream us anywhere with the Moody Radio app, other streaming services, and at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
President Biden has tested positive for COVID-19. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. The White House says Biden tested positive following an event in Las Vegas in which he was not feeling well. The president is experiencing mild symptoms and will return to Delaware, where he will self-isolate. The search for a new police chief in Beechwood is about to begin. Current Chief Catherine McLaughlin has tendered her resignation. September 13th of this year will be her last day on the job. Deputy Chief John Resek has been named as acting police chief. And drivers on a stretch of I-90 in Cleveland are being urged to buckle up and watch their speed. Authorities say an 8-mile stretch of I-90 between East 55th and East 260th has been designated as the state's first speed and seatbelt safety corridor. That means the Ohio State Highway Patrol and local law enforcement will be stepping up patrols in that area. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
We all want our kids to know the Bible and to know Jesus personally. So check out Today in the Word Family Studies. This month, help your children explore the book of Genesis in our companion devotional, God Has the Perfect Plan, with easy-to-understand lessons and fun learning activities to help your children better understand God's Word. To get your Today in the Word devotional and download the free Go Along Family Study, go to todayintheword.com. Spend time in God's Word together.
In sports, NFL training camps are just around the corner. The Browns have their rookies reporting on Monday, with veterans scheduled to appear the next day. The Steelers kick off the mandatory practices next Wednesday. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Partly cloudy this morning, then becoming mostly sunny. Highs in the mid-70s. At last check, clear skies, 68 degrees in Cleveland. Akron and Canton, clear and 64. Worcester is reporting some clouds and 64 degrees.
It's time for your moron moment.
Nelson Mandela has many accolades. He's an iconic figure that triumphed over South Africa's apartheid regime. He was a human rights lawyer, a prisoner of conscience, and an international peacemaker. And he was the first democratically elected president of a free South Africa. So you see why the United Nations General Assembly would want to celebrate his life. Commemorated on July 18th, Nelson Mandela Day celebrates the idea that each individual has the power to transform the world and the ability to make an impact. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 6:03. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Broadcasting live from the Bob Devine Studio. It's Mornings with Brian. Want to join the conversation? Call or text now at 440-546-2255.
A teens community is on Snapchat or on TikTok. And so how would you go about having both? I would want my child to have their community. I don't want them to feel left out. I want them to feel like they're connected. But also, there is so much harm in social media. How can we have both?
Honestly, when you give your child Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is you're going to give them in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, whenever you're going to do that, does that automatically, magically make them so happy and so loved? I mean, it really, truly, if we're honest, it does the opposite, that all of a sudden now it opens up this whole world of oh my word, I thought I was good looking, but now I see a gazillion people who are better looking than me. Is that trait of drama and pain and constantly measuring themselves, is that pain worth it?
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
It's Thursday at 6:07. Dave Szfranski will be here in 2 hours to answer your financial questions. Get in line early if you'd like. 440-546-2255. First question of the day. Are you going to be all white, Lowen?
What?
I grabbed a case of water to bring to the Alive Fest today.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you almost called in sick today because you hurt your finger.
First of all, it's called sarcasm. Don't know if you've heard of it.
What? I'm just wondering if you're okay.
I'm literally fine, but I did smash my finger with a case of water getting them yesterday.
Ouch.
Giant Eagle.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Like, how bad is it?
It's a little scratch.
Like, did you like yell in pain?
In public? Absolutely not. No.
But inside you were crying.
No.
I don't know if Lauren would yell in pain in private.
Yeah, when you were having a kid, you were probably like,
This is silent.
ouch. That hurts kind of.
Funny story about that. I did actually reduce my heart rate so much that the monitors would go off.
Like, they thought you were dead.
Yes, because I was calming my nervous system so much.
While you were in labor?
Yes.
Look at you.
Doing my deep breaths.
Meanwhile, I almost passed out with 3 of the 5 kids.
But don't let me smash my finger, because otherwise it's pretty dramatic.
But I mean, you brought it up right away, so I just want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, because I was letting you know. Sure, you can take a case of water, but you're going to have to get them next time, because I smashed my finger, so. And then that reduces, you taking a case reduces one here.
Wait, what do I hear? Is the wambulance here? Do I smell something wrong? Were you making a whamburger and French fries?
French fries?
For Lauren, maybe? Maybe not.
No.
Okay.
You're welcome for getting water.
Thank you for getting
Thank
water.
you so much.
Otherwise, you would have to go get a case today.
And
yourself.
I would have. Trust me, I'm going to a live fest for a couple of days, and the older I get, the more things I bring. I don't know if this is just a Brian problem or just how humans work. It's just like I don't want to take a chance of being uncomfortable. I'm bringing all my things.
Are you bringing a blankie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Lauren offered to send him with a nice chair, and he was complaining that it wasn't nice enough.
No, he was like, "Well, does he even have a back?" Okay.
And you said you were going to bring it.
Yeah, and I forgot, but I'll go get it for you before you leave.
You're not going to drive home and
Yeah,
get me a
it's
fancy
not that
chair.
far.
Yes, it is
It's
actually
farther
that
for
far.
you.
No, we're going to be fine.
No.
We're going to be fine.
No, you don't want a plastic
No,
chair.
but you don't understand. Like, so we go to sporting events with my son Matthias plays soccer, and we'll go, and there's almost like we should create sections of loser parents with horrible chairs and cool parents with the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Like they have like a fan attached somehow.
There were these
Sunroof.
parents on that. I didn't talk to them because I just generally don't talk to people.
Right.
They set up their foldable chair, and it's like a rocking chair.
It actually rocks.
There's hinges up kind of like on the side.
Oh, I've seen those.
And these people, it's full back. They're like fully relaxed, gently rocking. Meanwhile, I've brought a chair that we got 15 years ago that's rusty and kind of broken, and I'm a little embarrassed about
And you
it.
said it doesn't have a back.
Well, I mean, we got newer
That's
ones.
a stool.
No, Sarah went to pick up new chairs for us, and we just have different priorities in life. Mine is I need a high back on my chair so that I'm
Sure.
resting. And what she ended up getting was, God bless her, she's sleeping, so she wasn't not going to hear this. You know what director's chairs look like? You seen those in
Yeah.
movies?
Yeah.
She got those.
It's kind of like that, where the back of it goes up to
Halfway.
like the small of your back,
Mhm.
Yeah.
essentially.
Why?
Under your shoulder blades.
No, way lower than that. And so, I mean, you're sitting, and it has a cool little
Yes.
table you can pull up on the side
But,
and put your little drink there.
Your head just
That's
falls
cool.
back.
But there's no way I'm leaning back to fall asleep on this thing.
No.
No way.
Oh, you want a chair you can sleep in.
Well, you shouldn't be sleeping at your kids' sporting events
What?
anyway, Brian.
What kind of chair do you want to sit in, Ron?
The one like Sarah got sounds perfect for me. Firm, but you're sitting up, attentive to the action going on.
That sounds good for a 3-day event for you? That sounds what you'd like?
Well, you're talking about sporting events.
Yeah, you tell him, Ron.
For a 3-day event, yeah, well.
You want a lazy boy is what you want.
Yeah.
Is that Brian? I see him behind the table. He's sleeping. No, I won't do that. I promise.
Good.
I'll be fine. I'm a
Wear
tough
new
guy.
sunglasses and no one will know you're sleeping.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we do have fancy sunglasses that we're giving away. We have the used to be called fanny pack, now called for millennials and Gen Z. They don't like that phrase, so it's a shoulder bag,
Crossbody bag.
crossbody bag.
No, usually they're actually different types of bag.
We call them fanny packs.
But we've got those, and they're
Some sort of bag. You'll like it.
they say MWB on it, so that people will be like, "Oh, what's that?" And you'd be like, "Only my favorite show."
Don't you
And
know?
People who don't know it will still take it. You know, people who don't know our show.
Yeah, so they want. Yeah, exactly. You'll have to come up to the table and say hello to me, and maybe play a little game or something, and I'll give those away. It'll be lots of fun.
Chapstick.
Spin the
Hand
prize wheel. He's
sanitizer.
not going to play keep away with the prizes.
You have to play chess to win.
Well, it's a delicate
shell
balance. I don't. Right, we're gonna thumb wrestle, and I'm pretty good. I got long, skinny thumbs, so you're out. Trust me. But no, it's kind of a delicate balance. Like you don't want to make it so
Yeah,
easy
right.
that you run out the first day, but you don't want to make
Right.
it so hard that you're begging people to take things the last day. So this is I've having to really think through this. Thanks a lot, Lauren. I have to think really hard. Hopefully, I don't smash my finger.
All you
Think
have to
hard.
do is literally make someone spin a wheel.
Spin the wheel.
That's not thinking
But
about
Use
no,
a dry
but
erase marker.
There's
Write the prizes on there.
mathematics
No, there's not.
about how many times you place each item on the wheel.
You made that up.
No,
I've
that's
never
not
done
made
that.
up.
I've never done that.
No.
No, like for example, if you have lots of chapstick and it's a low value prize and you have a couple of crossbody bags, like you don't want to have the equal number on the
Okay,
the
that's not
spinning wheel.
mathematics.
What is that then? Probabilities? That's math.
Common sense.
Well, no, but it's also math. I mean, I'm not going to do
think
the
you're
math
right.
problem, but it is math.
Yeah.
It's like, excuse me, if you watch Wheel of
I
Fortune,
would just put equals of each.
there's a limited number of bankruptcies on there because you don't want to like hit bankruptcy every time and lose everything.
True.
And there's a limited number of like $1,000 deals. But there's more common lower denominations. This is how, come on. I'm like basically Pat Sajak today.
Retired?
Ryan Seacrest now.
Is it seriously Ryan Seacrest?
Yes, it is.
Why did he get that job?
That's a
Why
choice.
It is a choice.
I'm not sure how I feel about
He's
that
already
choice.
done TV. He doesn't need to do it again.
I just feel like Pat's just such a calming, just like father-like figure. I guess grandfather-like figure now, and then like I feel like Ryan, he's just too high energy.
He's gonna be too much energy.
I don't like that.
But
when you say something dumb, Pat's just like, that's funny. We're moving on.
Yeah, what's
I love his
Ryan's gonna freak out.
really subtle roasts. They're the best.
Yeah. Well, when you do the same game show for like 60 years, that's after a while, you don't need to work hard to burn people, I guess. But I don't understand how society works this way, where it's like one person does something cool. Now we're going to give them all the jobs.
Yeah, they do everything.
Like Steve Harvey. How many jobs can you have, buddy? I love you, but
Family Feud, a talk show. He's a judge guy now.
he does a morning radio show every day.
Nuh-uh.
Yes,
That's right.
he does.
Forgot about that. He's also a comedian.
Yeah, he does like a
All
Judge
the
Judy
things.
type show now. I saw.
And he does
I
this every
need this
day.
in my life. Where can I watch this?
I don't know. I'll have to find it.
Family Feud's the best.
Oh, Family Feud's
Oh,
the
yeah.
absolute best. He does Celebrity Family Feud.
And he actually laughs when people say crazy stuff. Like my favorite one was words that go with pork.
Oh my gosh,
and he
I
gets
love
to
that
a guy
one.
and the guy goes, cupine.
Huh?
What? A porcupine. Cupine. Oh, I laugh every time I think about that.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at 6:16, speaking of words associations, there's one word that could change your perspective on difficult seasons in your life. One word. We'll see if it actually will change things and how we feel about it in just a few minutes.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 877-58-BIBLE. That's 877-58-BIBLE. 877-58-BIBLE.
How does your gift to Moody Radio make a difference?
I just thank you for all that you do, because you're my island in the middle of a desert where so many people don't know Christ. And I'm so refreshed by the music and the words that I hear from your station.
Here's how you can help us build the body of Christ.
Go online to moodyradio.org/Cleveland and click on the donate button today to help support our ministry and to keep refreshing others with the truth of God's Word.
How do you do a rewind in the digital age? Let's say you heard Chris Fabry, Janet Parshall, or Chris Brooks on a call-in and you'd like to hear them again. How do you rewind? Easy. Go to moodyaudio.com. Stream or download to your heart's content. All free right now at moodyaudio.com. It's a rewind for the digital age. moodyaudio.com.
Are you looking for candid conversation from a biblical perspective? You found it. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Let's be honest for a minute. Life is hard. It's increasingly difficult to make ends meet. Stress from work can seem never ending. And then there's the challenge of relationships with people around us, like marriages and parenting. There's got to be a way to endure the chaos without losing our joy. And I think we found it. As you head on to work this morning, join us for Mornings with Brian, weekdays starting at 6 a.m. on 103.3 FM.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
CRF, Mornings with Brian. Next time you go to like Giant Eagle or Mark's or whatever, make sure you're careful when you're putting water into the car so you don't hurt your fingy, like our friend Lauren. But also be sure that you go down that school supplies aisle. They have them at grocery stores.
Yes, they do.
And everyone needs to get food. So go down there, grab a couple of extra school supplies.
Right.
And then we're going to ask you to bring them to Laura's home coming up on August 6th. We'll broadcast live from Laura's home just like last year as we try to fill the city mission van with school supplies for kids at Laura's home. They're there living with their mom after a crisis in their life, trying to get their feet on the ground. And we don't want the moms or the kids to have to worry about school supplies. That's like the last thing you need to worry about when you're living there. Okay? So we're going to ask you to be a big helper in this. Text the word supplies to 440-546-2255. Text supplies, 440-546-2255.
I've got an idea there.
Oh, good.
If you're a part of a Bible study, a small group, even a church, if you want to do the work, let it be known that you're the collector for this. And people have them bring in to you at your next meeting the supplies that they buy, and then you can be the one to drive them and deliver them. But that might be holding a lot of people back, thinking, well, I would get the supplies, but I don't want to have to drive to Laura's home in the morning. I'm already stressed about getting to work on time, and you never know if you're going to have traffic.
Yeah.
Have one person do the driving, but everybody can do the collecting.
See?
Great idea.
You nominate the driver. Ron Eastwood. What would we do without this guy?
I don't know.
Can also have them mailed here. We did that last year.
Yes, do Amazon and mail them here. Or
Drop them
Walmart.
off here.
Oh,
Yep,
boy.
drop 'em off
How did we
here.
forget about this? I forget everything.
Yeah.
But you're right. You could have stuff from Amazon shipped to the radio
Totally.
station.
Just label it Back to School Bash.
I'll
so we
take care
know.
of it from there.
I mean, hello. This is so cool. I don't know if some
Yeah,
people
the
don't
mail
even
is
know you
cool.
can do it. But no, that you can do this on Amazon. Like in the olden
yeah.
days, you had to go to a store, but you can really like go in and pick a bunch of things and send a different shipping address.
Yeah.
And you can get our shipping address on the internet.
Yeah.
And if you still can't find it, or maybe you don't have access to that, just text or call or whatever. Or I don't know. Maybe you send a letter, and we'll send one back in time.
Well, if they need to do that, they probably are not getting on Amazon.
I suppose that's true.
Ship your stuff here, drop your stuff off here if we're closer, whatever.
And we'll take it for you.
Yep.
Come on. This is easy. So if you want to see the list of supplies that are needed, text the word, you guessed it, supplies to 440-546-2255. Text supplies to 440-546-2255. Well, according to churchleaders.com, it's a question every parent is familiar with. And at least in my experience, this guy says, Michael Kelly, he says, it's both beautiful and annoying at the same time. Why? It's that question. Why?
Yes.
Are you getting this yet from Trey?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you go down, like you've gone so far down the path, it's like there is no other answer. You've asked why, and then I tell you the answer, and you ask why about that, and then I tell you the answer, and you ask why about that. There is no more.
We've so deconstructed it. There's
Yes,
nothing
there's
left.
no more answers.
So what's the final answer you'll give at that moment?
It's either, depending on what it is, I'm not sure, or there is no more, or, well, because that's what God said.
Yeah, blame God.
Because that's what God made it do. I don't know.
That's a really good modification of because I said so.
Yeah, well,
You
God
did
did
forget
it,
one.
so.
You forgot one.
What?
Ask your father.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I use, again, she's sleeping. I don't know, you'll have to ask your mother a lot.
I use that a lot because Trey's also learning Spanish, and he'll ask me outrageous things. How do you say this in Spanish? I don't know. You're going to have to go ask Dad. I can't even.
Or you could ask
I can't even think
Doodle.
about it.
Hey,
Or
Doodle.
Yeah. My Google Home. Yeah. Which he has before.
Yeah. And Ron, you remember those days of Wise.
Yep.
My kids do it now just to be annoying. But
a trait they learned from who?
Their mother.
Mm.
Lauren. They listen to Lauren a lot. But no, so his theory here is that as kids grow, they tend to ask why less and less. He says it doesn't disappear entirely, but it's like the natural sense of wonder slowly gets just kind of beaten out of them by life. You're nodding yes.
Yeah, I could see that.
Are you agreeing with this, Daria?
Oh, yeah, definitely happens.
Just over time, you just stop asking why.
You're just gonna like take it for what it is.
Yeah, you just as an adult, you just
Whatever.
start going, I don't know why, but I'm just going to deal with this. Who knows? But we do. He proposes ask the why question occasionally as adults. It's usually connected to certain circumstances. Can you predict what that would be?
Why is this happening to me?
Yeah. It's pain. As adults, we generally only ask the why question when it's out of a posture of pain, he says. So, like, for example, why is my wife sick? Why can't I find a job? Why is there so much anger in the world? Why is God allowing this to happen? These are the why questions we start to ask as adults. And and there's nothing wrong with those questions. I think a lot of people in their faith early on will end up thinking it's bad to ask God these why questions. It's not. You can ask him.
Yeah, he doesn't mind.
He may not answer, but you can let it out. That's, tell God how you feel. He knows anyway. It's like, I sometimes have to laugh at myself when I like kind of hold back in praying some things.
Yeah, you're not hiding.
I'll be all formal. Oh Lord. I'm like, wait a minute. No, you know what I want to say. So here it is. So the writer goes on to say, here's a difficult question to ask ourselves during these why seasons. He says, would knowing why really help us at all? What do you think?
It might. Like, why can't I find a job? If there is something like you're putting the wrong things on your resume and maybe you leave off a certain job that you used to work at, and that might help you, or, something you need to change your photo. It might be as simple as that. Upload a new photo that makes you look a little more professional. Maybe you've got, the photo of your mullet from 1985 or
for
whatever.
Kids, like now, you may want to cut the mullet if you're having a hard time getting a job.
A mullet with the curly hair on top, yeah.
Don't even get me started. But Ron, I think you're right on that, although some of those things could be solved by just some good counsel. And so sometimes I think the why can't I get a job question is more existential. It's more like, I've tried all these things. I've fixed everything, Lord.
Why is God not taking care of me?
Yeah, like this is something you've got to fix now. I mean, I feel like knowing the why is going to help me.
Yeah, I think in certain situations it could, like even with like, why is my spouse sick? I think we would all take comfort in just knowing that God is not taking delight in punishing us. There maybe is some other reason.
Could be. But generally speaking, the writer of the article is saying that the why is probably not going to help all that much. And then his example he gives is the life of Job, right? Where Job goes through a whole bunch of horrific things. We know why reading the book of Job in the beginning, but Job never finds out. And when, God finally is like, all right, Job, sit down. We're done. In Job 38, he just starts like, I'm sorry, who stops the water at the shore? Oh, that's right. That's me. Like he goes through this whole list of things and he never says why. Job never gets the why. So the writer of the piece here goes on to say there's a better question to ask than why. It's also a one-word question. Why? But it's not why. What's the one word we should ask instead? We'll get to that after we pause for prayer.
Hi, my name is Joe Abraham, and this is Pause for Prayer. How long does it take one to learn that life is not always easy? Of course, we can define easy in many shapes and sizes. Trials are relative to each and every person, but in reality, no one will escape them. It is one of the great mistruths of believers. Since I know God, all things will just be hunky-dory. And then we consider the Godhead. One might think, you're God. Of course you can handle it. Handle it? Yes. That's why one of the great marks of Scripture is found in Galatians 4:4. But when the right time came, God sent his Son, born of a woman, subject to the law, the goal to buy freedom for us. Let's pause and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we bless your holy name and are so thankful that you meet us where we're at to make us what you desire us to be. Thank you that you are a compassionate, graceful God who is slow to anger and filled with unfailing love. Thank you that you are not a distant, uncaring Lord. Thank you that you sent your one and only Son into the sin-stained world to bring us redemption, the forgiveness of our sins. And to think that you did more than go to the cross. Thank you for modeling how to handle direct attacks, Matthew 4. Thank you that you allowed your beloved Son to experience sufferings and temptations in our behalf. Hebrews 4 reminds us that our great high priest, Jesus, understands our weaknesses, for he faced all of the same testings we do, yet he did not sin. To think that one sin would have denied us of receiving holy intervention on our behalf. It's our prayer that you would daily renew a spirit of devotion and love to you for all you've done for us. Revive us through your holy word and God the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Pastors have to make tons of decisions, including what to do to meet healthcare needs for themselves and their staff. Christian Healthcare Ministries specializes in making healthcare decisions easy and affordable. Not insurance, but a health cost sharing ministry for over 40 years. CHM opens the door for individuals, families, and yes, pastors to be a part of a biblical way to meet medical bills. Get more information and answers to your questions at chministries.org/Moody. That's chministries.org/Moody.
Moody Radio is thankful for listeners and support from businesses like Duma Meats and Farm Market. Duma Meats and Farm Market supporting Moody Radio in Cleveland and surrounding areas. More information about Duma Meats and Farm Market is at dumameats.com.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
637 on WCRF. Don't forget, get in line with your financial questions for David Szfranski, president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group. He will be here from 8 to 9 today, so be sure to get those in again so we can get your questions answered, okay? All right. According to churchleaders.com, we ought to consider stopping the tradition of asking why. As adults, we generally ask God why when life gets hard. And I mean, I don't think we necessarily expect to hear an answer either. We're just frustrated. It's not very productive.
Yeah.
It's not inward focused. And so the writer of this piece says, I wonder, though, if there's another word we can change by God's grace during seasons of difficulty that will also dramatically change our perspective. What if instead of asking why, we started to ask what? Now, it took me a minute on that. I'm like,
yeah.
What are you doing to me, Lord? That doesn't help, right? No, he says, see, if we really believe God loves us, that he is for us, that all things work together for our good, that he's busily taking all these events, even the painful ones, and using them redemptively to shape us into the image of Jesus, if that's all true, then we can ask the what question. And so here are some what questions that can reframe the whole problem. What is God teaching me in this difficulty? What is being exposed about my heart? What needs to change in my faith? What lie have I been believing?
That's a good one.
And this is, quite honestly, this is a big chunk of what I picked up in the spiritual formation course I took with the Caritas Center.
Here we are, another Nancy Kane reference.
It's the Nancy Show. No, she's had such an influence on my life. It's hard not to bring her up all the time. And this is another one where, we can focus on the pain and get mad at God about it. Or we can acknowledge, really say, I believe he's going to work all things together for my good. And I believe that that pain is God's invitation for growth. And if that's the case, it's time to turn inward. Like, for example, if somebody is very stressed about how much they hate their job and they can't find a new one, you could ask, well, what's God teaching me here? Well, maybe you've got just far too much of your heart wrapped around your job. And he's asking you to let go of that. Maybe you don't really believe that he's got your best, like he's got all things working together for your good. And you need to spend some time with the Lord and work on that. Mm-hmm. Have you all ever tried examining pain this way? Or is this kind of a newer concept?
I have. I don't know that I got very far, but I wondered. So I guess that's a good first step.
Yeah, this is very new for me. I didn't pick this up until just a couple of years ago. And only recently have I tried to make a habit out of it. And I still have to, if I'm really going through something, I'll call my friend Nancy. And she'll essentially just do this, just walk me through these. I wonder what God's teaching you in this. And I go, oh, right. Yeah, I'm supposed to learn stuff and be more like Jesus. That's right. Not just get mad about my circumstances. Now, he makes a good point in the piece here that this doesn't dismiss the idea that we ought to grieve a bit. Sometimes you got to grieve, you got to weep, mourn, let it out. But you can't just stop there. You've got to do some reflective inward examination. Lauren, how much of this have you been able to do consciously, or is it an effort?
I mean, it's. I think it will always be an effort. I don't think it comes very naturally to many people because we like to take care of ourselves.
Right.
We don't really trust God to take care of us. I remember a time I had just started college and I developed a chronic illness, and so much so that I was passing out in the bathroom from pain.
Oh no!
I had to crawl from the communal bathroom back to my dorm room. I couldn't walk very well, and it was a months-long process of figuring out what was going on. I was at the doctor all the time. I was getting blood draws every week. It was autoimmune hepatitis, which came along with rheumatoid arthritis, which is why I was just like crippled I couldn't really move. And so there was a really long season where I was like, why is this happening to me? I just started college. I'm trying to make friends. I'm trying to do good in school. I'm trying to live this new life, this new independent life. And I can't. And I remember journaling a lot about that of like, what is God doing right now? And like, why does it have to be right now? And I spent a lot of time, probably that first full year of college, asking, what is God trying to teach me? And I think it was a lot of not relying on my own self to get me through things.
And that's a tough realization to come to. He was almost breaking you to make sure that you're going to, as you begin your education at a Bible college, to rely on him, not yourself and your own strength. It's humbling.
Yeah, it was.
It sounds like it changed you too.
It did, yeah.
And see, I think what happens is when we don't ask the what questions, we don't change from pain. We just get more embittered.
Exactly. Because you're just like, you never get an answer to the why.
Right. And we treat it kind of like Hinduism, even though we don't think of it that way. We're treating it like it's karma. You're like, what did I do, God? Are you punishing me now? So we don't believe in karma.
Yeah.
It's not how it works.
Yeah, God is love. He's not punishing.
That's right. So what he's doing is maybe it's the consequence of sin in your life, but either way, what he's doing is he's trying to refine you and he's trying to shape you into his image. And so if you don't reflect on that, you're not going to become more like him. In fact, I think it was Joe Stoll years ago at Moody Bible Institute that asked at a chapel service, he said, you need to be able to ask yourself and people around you, your friends, your family, am I more like Jesus today than I was 90 days ago? And that should be a pretty sobering question for most of us.
Because 90 days is long enough to show a change if you're actually trying.
Yeah.
But the easier one to answer is than when I was a kid or than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But we truly are supposed to be in this long journey. And I met a guy, he's a pastor essentially, and he's in his early 90s. And I was talking to him, and he brought up to me that a profound realization of an area of growth he needed in his life that he finally figured out at 87. And there's part of me that was like annoyed, not at him, but like 87. Shouldn't you have it all figured out by now? You're in your 90s. You should be like at some sort of destination. But he was truly viewing a spiritual journey as one that doesn't conclude in this life.
Right.
So he's still trying to conform his life more and more to Christ.
We're never going to make it.
Right.
So it's a constant change.
And if that's the case, then we really should kind of, ask the why questions for a few minutes, but we should, as we get more spiritually mature, set those aside as quickly as possible and move to the what. What is God teaching me? What is being exposed about my heart that needs to be refined? What needs to change in my faith? And what lie have I been believing? And when you spend legitimate time reflecting on this, even write down those 4 questions and go into solitude and start journaling and asking yourself these questions. I did this recently at a metro park, and you'll get answers quicker than you realize. I'd highly encourage you to consider if you haven't done it yet. It's 6:46 on WCRF. This is Mornings with Brian. When we come back from a break, we're going to shift gears a bit into one of my greatest pet peeves.
You've got many of those.
Yeah, maybe like 16,072. But this one was covered by a national newspaper.
Oh, no.
Because it's a major problem in America.
Okay.
We will get to it in a moment.
We had so much fun last year. We're helping another back-to-school bash be a smash success. You can help every child at Laura's home have confidence to learn because they'll have all the items they'll need when they head back to school. Moody Radio Cleveland is partnering with the City Mission to help provide school supplies to the kids living at Laura's home. We're also bringing Mornings with Brian to a live broadcast on Tuesday, August 6th. Stop by Laura's home on Puritas Avenue in Cleveland between 6 and 9 a.m. and meet the team. And bring your donations of school supplies to help us fill a van for children in need. If it's more convenient, you can drop off your donations between 4 and 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 6th, or Wednesday the 7th at Laura's home. For more information, including a list of school supplies these students will need, text SUPPLIES to us at 440-546-2255. That's SUPPLIES. Or go to moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
1959, Cuba.
This is the biggest demonstration in Cuba's history. Almost 1 million people are here.
There is Fidel Castro, the leader.
Cuba then became a one-party, communist and atheist state.
When the revolution took over in 59, things becomes bad to the churches.
But today, this longtime Cuban pastor sees hope.
We really think that this is our time to reach our country. Now people are willing to listen to the gospel.
Cuba needs Jesus. Cuba needs you. You can be part of something really big. Join TWR in taking the good news of Jesus into Cuba every night by radio.
Radio waves can reach everywhere. Any Cuban could listen to the gospel.
Partner today with TWR. Go to CubaNeedsJesus.org.
They say family knows you best. Here's Brian's older brother with a message for you.
I always knew my little brother had the gift of gab, and he proves it to you every morning.
It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Okay, so a boomer, an Xer, a millennial, and a Gen Zer walk into a radio studio. Oh wait, you thought this was a joke? No, seriously, we actually sit down behind microphones and talk to each other, and you, every morning. And you have a front row seat to it all, as we try to understand what's going on around us. Plus, we talk about life's deeper issues with a few laughs along the way. Join us for Mornings with Brian, weekdays starting at 6 a.m. on 103.3 FM.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
652 Moody Radio. Again, get those school supplies together, even, when you're going through Amazon every day, because some of you do.
It's Prime Day, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it...
Prime Day, Prime Week.
It's the Primes.
I feel like it's always Prime Day.
Well, it's like super big discounts right now.
Well, right, but don't they do that a few times a year?
I don't know.
Are we complaining about discounts?
No, we're not. Sarah and I are getting packages all the time. And it's just we have to figure out when the packages are coming so the dogs don't wreck them. If it's a certain size, the dogs think it's going to attack us, so they destroy it.
Well,
it's a problem. So what I would encourage you to do is go on the Amazon. You can ship school supplies to us, or while you're doing some grocery shopping, grab a couple of extra school supplies, because the kids at Laura's home need school supplies, and we're doing our back-to-school bash for them yet again. We're trying to fill the van. The City Mission van with school supplies for kids from Laura's home. Text the word supplies to 440-546-2255. Text supplies to 440-546-2255. And we'll send you back a link with the list and some information, because August 6th is the collection day. But you can send them here, okay? All right, so the Washington Post finally addressed one of my major problems.
You'd thought about this problem before you read this. It wasn't like this article revealed it to you.
No, I've talked to you about this problem personally.
Okay.
Why restaurants are so loud and what science says we can do about it is what the article is called.
You mean besides turn down the music? Problem solved.
Well, no, it's not even just music necessarily.
Yeah, it's chatter.
I met a friend for lunch a couple weeks ago, and I think I came back and spent 3 or 4 days complaining to Lauren about how loud it was.
You did.
Like, I do not like having to yell to talk to a friend. Usually when you schedule a lunch with somebody, it's because you want to reconnect and talk to them. Meanwhile, my voice is hoarse for 2 days afterwards because, what? Huh? And you're yelling. I mean, we've done this before. Like, as a team, we'll go out and grab dinner after setting up for Renew or Walk Worthy. And we can hardly speak to each other.
You can only talk to the person right next to you.
Even that's a struggle sometimes. Like if they turn away for 2 seconds and they are not giving you their full undivided attention, they cannot hear you.
So what ended up happening is a pretty creative idea, actually. The food critic for the Washington Post got together with an acoustics expert and like a sound engineer and an audio producer and all these people, and they went in with decibel meters into one of the restaurants that's known in Washington for being one of the loudest. And they're sitting there at the very beginning, and what reading are you getting? It's like nerd fest, Let's see, it's fluctuating. One of them spiked at 87 decibels.
Oh,
ouch!
Now, for those who aren't familiar, I got a decibel chart.
Okay.
And if you're on the live stream, you can see it's pretty. It's got colors. So at 10 decibels, that's the sound of breathing.
Yeah.
Depending on who you are, maybe it's more like 20. But if you're a mouth breather, it might be a little louder, I guess. Rustling leaves, 20 decibels. Whispering, 30 decibels. Hello. When I whisper, it's more like 60 decibels probably. I don't whisper. Like our refrigerator is 40 decibels, moderate rainfall 50, conversation is 60, car or city traffic is 70 decibels, and then labeled at very loud is 80 decibels, and they have a truck. So you're in a restaurant, and you're essentially
in a truck,
standing next to the engine of a truck, trying to talk to your friend.
Wow.
The next level up, and because remember, it was 87 decibels. 90 decibels is a hairdryer. Imagine just standing there with a hairdryer between you and your friend, having to have a conversation over that. It's outrageous. And at the end of the day, they took far too many pages to ultimately get to the conclusion that visual aesthetics and acoustics don't mix.
Oh, yeah, there's too many hard surfaces in most restaurants, so the sound just bounces around and reverberates.
Yep.
Yeah, we all want to look cool, so everything is wooden, it's concrete, it's ceramic, it's all these different things, it's tile, and then it gets super loud. And for restaurants to actually make a difference, they'd have to pay for acoustical treatment, and we'd have to stop worrying about how it looks.
How cute it is.
Now, if somebody opened up the normal acoustic restaurant or something, or like the acoustics-friendly restaurant, I'm going.
Acoustic cafe.
There was actually one called that where I grew up. Or no, where I went to college. It was where all the cool kids went.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't. It's just because they had live music of college kids that was subpar.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
still fun, though.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it wasn't that great. I mean, imagine the person that shouldn't be doing open mic night.
Yes. We had those
They
too.
just bought a guitar. Yeah. Not good. But no, I mean, honestly, if I knew a place would be quiet, I would go there. And the food critic says one of the questions, he actually 10 years ago started reporting on the volume in a restaurant. As part of his review of a restaurant, he
That's
will
good.
give the decibel reading of a restaurant. And he said, other than tipping, the most common question he gets asked is how loud a restaurant is.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. It's not just a Brian problem.
He's like, wow, look at this. I ate all this food, have all these thoughts about food, and people just want to know about how loud it is.
People seem to be less concerned about how the food tastes than whether it's super loud in there. If you're a restaurateur, fix this.
Yes, please.
You want to have a relaxing experience at a restaurant. If it's loud, it's stressful.
I'm not trying to be screaming.
I'm just even trying to think of a restaurant. Like if I could say, here's a place I know that's quiet. I can't think of one.
Tell you the worst used to be Chipotle, because when they first started, they were
metal?
like they were metal and they were round, and the music was so loud.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, nobody needs music on at the restaurant. No one needs that. Turn that off. It's not a nightclub. It's a restaurant. If I wanted to go listen to loud music, I'd go to see a band play or I'd go to a nightclub, and I'm not going to do either because it's too loud.
Let the chatter be the ambiance. You don't need music.
Yes, the ambiance.
And if the sound level is already too high, you're just adding background babble.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
I worked at a bar, and I was a hostess, and I had to, shout and lean over the podium, like, what did you say? Like, how many? And I was trying to do my job.
Did people have to use their hands sometimes? Be
Sometimes,
like,
yeah.
4.
Or you have to sorry? You have to keep asking. Or you just look. You're like, okay. You got 3. Let's go.
That's horrible.
Hand signals.
Enjoy! Putting it at our table.
We need to come up with a business plan for
so
this.
bad.
I mean, call it, who cares what kind of food it would serve? The quiet restaurant. That its priority is not even the taste of the food. It's that it's a quiet environment.
Well, with so many environments offering sensory spaces for people that are on the spectrum or whatever, this should be a priority.
Yeah.
We've done this.
And no crunchy foods. Soft foods that are also quiet.
Yes.
Can I still have French fries?
No smoothies. Yeah, French fries. No smoothies, so you don't have the loud buzzing of the smoothie maker.
Yeah. No, yes. And if you're going to have those, there should be a sound isolation booth in the back.
Yeah, the
in
kitchen.
which someone has to use it. This is a great idea, guys.
I think so.
If someone
Mornings
steals
at
it,
Brian
we get
Cafe.
10%. What's that?
Mornings at Brian Cafe.
What? Yeah, man, we've solved a great problem here. Look at us. If you do this business plan, we better get credit for it, or at least a large percentage. Okay?
Or free something when we go.
Yeah.
Free everything.
Breakfast. Sponsor us.
Wow.
Look at all the problems we're solving today. In fact, coming up in a few minutes, you know what we're going to do? Pretend experts, where we are in show business, therefore business, therefore we're going to give advice to people in business.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
NASA is planning for life after the International Space Station. It's 7:01. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. NASA is contracting with SpaceX to develop a deorbit vehicle to bring the ISS down gently into the ocean when its lifespan ends in 2030. NASA plans to transition to using private companies to operate space stations. The delegates at the Republican National Convention are buzzing after Ohio Senator J.D. Vance took the stage to accept the vice presidential nomination. Vance used the opportunity to sing Trump's praises while introducing himself to a national audience in describing his upbringing in the Buckeye State. And the city of Akron is giving away another round of free Ring doorbell cameras. The city is giving away a total of 3,000 cameras in an effort to make the city safer as the cameras will allow for residents to voluntarily turn over footage of suspicious or criminal activity to police. I'll have sports and weather in just a moment.
Classics. They're priceless. At moodyaudio.com, you'll find classics of a different kind, like Radio School of the Bible and Conference Echoes, plus Bible teaching from names like David Platt, A.W. Tozer, and Francis Schaeffer. There's Talking It Over with George Sweeting, plus stories of great Christians. Stream live or download the MP3s at no cost. Check out the archives page next time you visit moodyaudio.com. That's moodyaudio.com.
In sports, the NFL training camps are just around the corner. The Browns have their rookies reporting Monday, with veterans scheduled to appear the day after. For the Steelers, they'll kick off mandatory practices next Wednesday. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Partly cloudy this morning, then becoming mostly sunny, highs in the mid-70s. At last check, clear skies in Cleveland, 67 degrees. Clear and 64 in Akron and Canton. Ashtabula has some clouds where it's 62 degrees.
It's time for your moron moment.
Nelson Mandela has many accolades. He's an iconic figure that triumphed over South Africa's apartheid regime. He was a human rights lawyer, a prisoner of conscience, and an international peacemaker. And he was the first democratically elected president of a free South Africa. So you see why the United Nations General Assembly would want to celebrate his life. Commemorated on July 18th, Mandela's birthday, Nelson Mandela International Day celebrates the idea that each individual has the power to transform the world and the ability to make an impact. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It is 7:04. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m. They look at business decisions and impose their positions. Without a doubt, they know what they're talking about. It's time for Pretend Experts.
This first one's a little different than we usually do, guys. It's a corporate buzzword.
Oh.
There's a brand new corporate buzzword.
I think I've seen this one.
Buzz.
Okay, it's double click.
Yeah.
You've seen this?
I saw it, yeah.
So if you're in the office, like we would be right now, very corporate of us, let's double click. As in, let's dig into something further, like, I'll double click that media plan tomorrow. Let's double click this topic.
I don't just say what you want to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't make up weird words to say oh, we'll just talk about this tomorrow. Double click, no.
I agree.
Guaranteed it was an Xer or a boomer that came up with this.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm an Xer. I'm just telling you that I can't imagine a millennial or a Gen Z saying,
yeah,
let's double click.
It's
you guys don't even know how to do that. You tap.
I can't remember last time I even heard someone say that, in context.
Double click the icon?
Yeah, I usually do that when I'm walking, a parent or a grandparent through how to get to a website or something.
Right. Because you don't even have to say it anymore. You just go click on that. If people know that
why are you saying double
twice.
click?
Yeah.
You just don't make things that they are not. Let's circle the wagons tomorrow around this topic. No, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
I like circle the wagons better.
I want to start using this in our meetings. Hold on. Could we double click this? Could we double click
what
this
does that
topic?
even mean? I don't get it.
We're digging in. We're going deeper.
Just say digging in.
No. It's double click.
It's the same amount of syllables.
You take the surface and you dig in.
Yeah,
you dig in.
You know what?
Same amount of syllables.
Next time Sarah is on, she's going to have to tell us all the new corporate jargon.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's in one of those super corporate places.
Super corporate.
So she's going to have to tell us all those new fun words.
It's a lot. We'll have to double click that topic with
Yeah,
her.
we'll double click that with Sarah.
I don't know. I'm going to see how often I can say that.
I don't
All right,
like that.
next one comes from New York.
Okay.
Forget about it. It's in New York. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we do this every week. You somehow find a story from New York and do that. So,
in honor of National Pickle Month this July, this is National Pickle Month.
Is it? Didn't we already do this one?
No.
Okay. The pickle sandwich?
No, this is not the pickle sandwich, Lauren. It's Pickle Month all July. Excuse me.
Okay, so we're still talking about pickles. Okay.
Did we ever talk about? Do you like pickles, Lauren?
I do.
Like plain old, you're gonna grab a pickle and eat it? Like you'll go to the fair and buy pickle on a stick.
Oh, sure.
Which I find so weird.
It's very odd.
Just go buy a jar. Don't go to a fair and just buy someone's charging you so much just to jam a stick into a pickle.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. You've already paid so much just to get into the fair.
Yes.
Right.
Dari, do you like pickles?
I don't like anything vinegar flavored.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty extreme.
Yeah, I don't like vinegar.
I love pickled onions. I make my own. Put them on everything.
Boy.
Pickled red onions? You're kidding.
Sounds good.
Poor Eddie.
He eats them too.
Well, he has to. If you're eating a whole bunch of pickled
No, he
onions.
does not. He can make his own
Sometimes Sarah will
choices.
go, "Why are you having those garlic chips again? All right, give me some." We might as well both stink. So if you get a hamburger with a pickle,
No pickles.
you take it off.
Yeah. And
you get annoyed.
Yeah, no, I have to. If it even touches my burger, I can taste it, and I'm mad. I don't like it.
Where there's the pickle indent and
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A,
the
Chick-fil-A
juices
bun?
have soaked into the bun, and I don't like that.
pickle indent?
I get mad.
Sounds like my son Teddy, who's 10.
Oh, you don't have foods that you don't like.
Mushrooms.
Ron, are you a pickle guy?
I love pickles.
Yeah. So you'll get the pickle on a stick, won't you?
I've never seen one, and it's been decades since I went to a county fair.
Well, that's
so.
why you haven't seen one.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Garrettsville Summerfest, somebody had a whole booth of them. Just brilliant business. You just go to the store, you buy a bunch, and you charge $5 for a giant pickle with a stick in it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, there's a brand new thing to celebrate at a bakery in New York City.
I already hate it.
By Melissa and Clausen Pickles. Melissa apparently is
the owner of
it's called Baked by Melissa.
Okay.
It took me a minute. I thought it was just some lady named Melissa baked it. No, it's called Baked by Melissa. And Clausen Pickles have come out with a pickle-flavored green mini cupcake.
Nope.
The cupcake is pickle-flavored and topped with pickle buttercream icing. And they say it's Delightful.
Nope. No.
It's a sweet, salty, sour pickle treat.
That's going to be a no for me. That's a no for me, dog.
I can almost guarantee.
Randy Jackson, man.
No, I can almost guarantee my son Matthias and my wife Sarah would get a pickle cupcake and enjoy it.
I would try it, but
Me
I don't
too.
think I would like regularly make a habit of eating them. I
Right,
like a sweet cupcake. Pickles are where pickles belong, and cupcakes are where cupcakes belong.
Right.
See, if somebody offers me a cupcake, I'm just going to pass. I don't
You don't
want
like
a
cupcakes?
I still don't know quite how
You're
to
more
eat
of a
it
pie
right.
guy?
Well, no, I mean, it's too big to put in your mouth. No matter what you do, you get frosting on your face.
Jimmy's the same way. He says,
Yeah,
there's too much icing. I don't want it.
I don't like cake to begin with, so now...
Yeah, do you eat just the icing or do you eat the
And you got the
cupcake?
paper, you got to peel the paper off. It's so much work. I don't want that. Don't even give me a cupcake. Blech. Especially a pickle one.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. Ron, what do you think?
I would try it, but I don't envision it being my go-to
No.
cupcake anymore.
Ooh.
Oh, but what if they started making pickled donuts with a pickle cream in the inside?
Even
Pickle
worse.
cream.
I don't want any kind of liquid or gelatin
Sick.
substance inside of my donut. Thank you. Final story comes to us from Oakbrook Terrace, Illinois, near Chicago. The Bears, the Bulls Police sausage. I remember one of my kids was in the Park District performance. Lady gets up. And now time for the Tiny Tots to dance. I just about died. Here's the Tiny Tots.
I love a Chicago accent.
All right, guys. It's the end of an era.
Oh, no.
Redbox is going out of business.
It wasn't already?
For more than
I'm
two...
always surprised when I see one.
Stop it. For
It
more than
wasn't
2
already?
decades, the company rented out DVDs and thousands of kiosks, and they're transitioning from Chapter 11 bankruptcy to Chapter 7 liquidation.
Oh,
Because
that's sad.
nobody wants DVDs anymore. But I remember,
Well, yeah.
I have so many memories of that.
Oh, I do too. I used to get stuff from Redbox all the time. Yes.
I get multiple things.
Yeah, get a Slurpee, get a Redbox.
And then they found out after a while that you couldn't see the screen anymore, so they came up with those fancy sun
Yes.
screens you have to lift up.
Yes.
So innovative.
It's clever.
Guys.
I mean, you haven't gone to one in years, so.
But I like seeing them there. It's nostalgic. You go to
It gives you a warm feeling.
You go to Walgreens, you look at, oh, look, it's Redbox. I love them.
I'm not going to stop, but I love them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep it there as just a decoration, I guess.
Maybe you can like bring one of the boxes home.
So, I kind of like that. Maybe they're
Yeah,
giving
put it
them
in your
away.
basement. Yeah,
I'd take one.
They are liquidating.
so you could look at it.
Sarah would get mad, though.
Yeah.
Why do we have this? Nostalgia, dear. She's
So
like,
I can look at it.
what are all these other boxes for? I have
My stuff.
so many things I won't throw away. All right, 7:16, time for a quick break. When we come back, what we're going to do, our friend Roy from Galvanized is going to stop by for a brief visit. Why? A major story in the news tied to the national anthem at the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
One of the worst renditions ever performed. Turns out somebody's grappling with addiction. We'll talk about that with Roy here in just a few moments.
You say you listen to Moody Radio. Why?
Oh, I just love it. I drive around a lot for my work during the day, and I like all the programs and all the sermons, and I really like it when the talk shows may be on and there's call-ins, and it's from non-believers, so it tells me that it's reaching unreached people, so it's a good work, and I appreciate you doing it.
You can be part of that work, extending that gospel reach with your generous gift.
Click donate at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 877-58-BIBLE. That's 877-58-BIBLE. 877-58-BIBLE.
pour another cup of coffee, and settle in for engaging, Christ-centered conversations. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian, Moody Radio Cleveland, 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
for King and Country on WCRF. They're going to be at a live fest here. I'll be there as well.
They're performing tonight.
Tonight? Watch out. Well, come and say hello to me before the show starts. I'll be in the, I don't know, wherever tables are.
Marketplace.
The marketplace.
You'll be performing in the marketplace.
Yes, I will be. So check that out.
Someone will be driving Brian because he doesn't know where he's going.
If you see me as somebody wandering, looking lost, It's me. Okay, if you are on social media or watch the news or anything, there was a singer. Her name is Ingrid Andress, and she was given a huge opportunity to boost her career in that she was offered to perform the national anthem in Arlington, Texas, at Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby.
Mm-hmm.
And it went viral for all the wrong reasons because it was one of the worst renditions I've ever heard.
Like up there with Carl Lewis and Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, it's terrible. And Lauren was talking to me about it off the air, and then very quickly thereafter, she went on X, not Lauren, but Ingrid Andress, and she said, I'm not going to lie, I was drunk last night. I'm checking myself into a facility today to get the help I need. That was not me last night. And I wanted to get some insight on this since it was such a viral story. Our friend Roy from Galvanized, it's a men's recovery ministry. Roy, what was your reaction when you saw the story, maybe heard her rendition of this thing?
I guess I'm kind of mixed in this. Like the first thing, I went and did a little bit of research just so I didn't, have no idea what I was talking about. And it sounds like a lot of people are saying that she's trying to use it as an excuse and kind of excusing the behavior. What I actually did is I Googled to try to find out if she actually did check into rehab, and there was nothing on that, nothing further. But I guess my initial reaction was, you have to be completely broken before you'll do something about it,
Yeah, because, some people might see a story like this and they go, wait a minute, you're a musician, you get this huge opportunity. How could you possibly allow yourself to drink that much before you go into this huge opportunity? Can you explain the mind of an addict in that situation?
Sure. Like the wife that is mad at the husband, or the husband that's mad at the wife because the spouse is drinking, may say something like, if you really loved us and loved our kids, you would stop.
Yeah.
Right? And you would think to yourself, if you really loved your career, Brian, you would not have gone and sang in front of all these people with this epic opportunity and been drunk. The reality is people do love their career or their family or their husband or wife, but they can't stop. If they could stop, it wouldn't be an addiction. You know what I mean? Johns Hopkins did a study called the disease model of the brain, and in like the traditional recovery programs, they say that alcoholism is a disease, and then it causes a lot of backlash because they're like, no, cancer is a disease. You don't choose cancer, you choose to drink. But the study from Johns Hopkins kind of shows like when a consequence follows an action and it is impossible and it doesn't change a behavior, that's kind of the premise of it, right? So like you get a DUI and then you get another DUI and you get another DUI, and most people would be so devastatedly embarrassed and financially upset they would never drink and drive again after one DUI if you weren't an alcoholic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the reality is the person can't stop. She probably treated it just like, the best way to have her not be drunk was to have it like in the morning.
Wow.
Unfortunately, but, it's interesting though, because if the backlash was that bad for this person, for her, maybe God uses it as, all things work to, well, I won't say that first because we don't know her status of if she's a believer or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it says anything in there.
Yeah, we don't know.
But the idea is the bottom's got to come up to hit you, right? Some people have a higher tolerance for pain. You might get, being how strong you are and soft you are. Okay, so Brian, you might get in trouble one time. I was going to start to
and
burn
I just
you, and I was
crumple
like
a
I need
leaf.
to be nice to Brian.
No, it wouldn't take much pain for me, brother. You're right.
But you know what I mean? Like one person could have one incident with alcohol where they're embarrassed or whatever. They come home from a party or from a work occasion where they drank too much, and they're like, they swear off it. They're like, no way, never again. And another person might have to apologize 10 times at work and, be divorced several times and have multiple DUIs and still never get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's when the bottom hits you, and that's when you're sick and tired of it. When you're finally sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when you'll do something about it. So maybe this public humiliation was enough to say for her, I'm out. Like, I need to get some help.
Now, is that fairly common where someone's got to encounter that level of pain or embarrassment to stop? Or is it possible that somebody might go, you know what, I think I should stop drinking now and just have some sort of intellectual decision?
Yeah, that rarely happens. It normally is you have to burn it down, burn the tires off, just most of the time. I always make the joke with the people at Galvanized. I'm like, you guys didn't get here on a scholarship. It's not like, hey, you guys are doing so good, we'd like you to be able to come to Galvanized for free. It's not like that. It's not like achieving a college scholarship. It's like crashing and burning. Most people are there like, my wife has left me. Galvanized is men's, so I say wife. My wife has left me, and we're gonna end up getting divorced. I need to get this together. Or my job has put me on a leave of absence, or I got fired from my job, or I'm looking at jail time or something. It's always the catastrophe that really breaks the mold. If you think about it, the potter's making we always see it at church, like the potter and the wheel and everything. That's like a pretty classic picture that they would say about how in the hands of the potter, the clay. But to start again, you wouldn't just crack the handle off. You kind of got to smush it all down into a broken pile and then start again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that kind of is what seems to happen with people in addiction.
Well, I appreciate your help kind of taking a peek at this. Again, Roy, a facilitator of Galvanized Men's Recovery Ministry. It was such a viral news story, and it involves something I know we're passionate about here, because I would guess somebody in our listening area had their heartstrings pulled on this, or maybe they realized it's time to get help. And you all, I'm guessing, if I remember right, it's tomorrow, right? That you all are meeting at
Friday
Galvanized?
night.
Tell somebody how to get help.
7:30, Grace Church, Middleburg Heights. We meet upstairs. It's a men's recovery ministry. It's very easy to walk in and get involved. You don't have to qualify or pay or buy a book or anything like that. You just kind of show up and somebody will greet you and just come and check it out.
You guys have soft shell tacos this week, or are you?
Let's see. Where's Larry? I'll have to check with my buddy Larry. Hey, I heard a rumor on Facebook that somebody broke into the radio station. Is that true?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, no, we had a party to thank our guests, and you TP'd the studio is what you did.
Brought your own toilet paper, too, I believe.
No, I stole it out of your bathroom. It was
wow.
awesome. I just had this ingenious moment to break into the studio and roll the studio. And I'm laughing because I'm looking in the cameras as I'm doing it, and I'm thinking, I wonder if Ron's got these things turned on. And I'm waving, and I'm like, all the screens are up, and I'm just rolling. I'm having a great time, and you guys are just on the other side of the door. Yeah, it was pretty good. A good time. So
we'll have to post a picture of that. Yes, Roy from Galvanized, the men's recovery ministry at Grace Church. He has high standards for soft taco shells, and he TPs radio studios. So we'll send
better and better, buddy.
That's
but
right.
not Ron and Dario's, just me and you.
Nope. Yep. I didn't get the side studio, and I did put the toilet paper roll. I don't know if you noticed, but
on Ron's
put
chair.
it in Ron's office to try to make it like elude, like maybe Ron did it.
Yeah, I know. I took a picture
Thanks,
of that
brother.
because
Ron
you set him up.
Put it back on my desk. He said, I don't want to be culpable.
Oh, boy.
Good choice, Sean.
All right, get some help if you need some addiction help, like Ingrid Andress. And thanks, Roy from Galvanized Men's Recovery Ministry at Grace Church. God bless you, man.
Have a great morning. See ya.
You too. All right, coming up in just a few moments, Mike Swiger from True Freedom Ministries. We love Mike. He's been a good friend of the show, and he's doing incredible work for the kingdom in Ohio, in prisons, where Jesus tells us we're supposed to go and visit people. He's bringing in a friend today as we talk about a really incredible thing happening in prisons this summer in Ohio.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
It is 7:39 here on WCRF on Mornings with Brian, and Scripture's pretty clear about a lot of things. One of them, though, is that we're supposed to visit people in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Lord Jesus has a heart for people who are in prison. So many of the apostles spent time incarcerated. And so one of our favorite ministries here in town is True Freedom Ministries, and our friend Mike Swiger, who runs the thing. He's executive director of True Freedom Ministries. Welcome back to studio, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you brought somebody in studio with you today. Why don't you introduce your friend here to us?
Oh, I'd love to. This is Mr. Damon Mintz. Damon and his family have been longtime supporters of True Freedom. His father, Steve, has been a longtime friend of mine, personal friend built into my family. And we've partnered to do a very unique thing this summer.
And you are head of a record company.
Yeah, one of the businesses that we own is a Nashville-based record label and publishing company.
How convenient. Lauren is going to just do why don't you do a little ditty here for him? See if we can get you signed.
Hey, we're always looking for great talent, you never know.
She's a singer?
I am not.
Now, Daria is, but we're not going to put her on the
is,
spot.
yeah,
She doesn't have a guitar here today, and we're not going to worry about that. Now, why in the world would a guy running a record company be partnering with a guy who runs a prison ministry in Ohio?
Well, yeah.
What's the story?
That's the million-dollar question here. And if you would have told me 6 months ago when we were launching our newest artist that, that was our first tour was going to be in prisons, I would have said, I'm not sure you guys are doing something here you shouldn't be doing.
I don't think anyone's doing a prison tour.
No.
I've never heard of this.
They don't give a lot of awards for the best prison tour.
I think it was Johnny Cash was the last one to do a big prison tour. Yeah,
Johnny Cash. Actually, Melissa Etheridge just did one.
Did she?
And yeah, they just put a documentary out on that. But I don't think that's where most people go to launch their career. So
no, it's not.
It was really the Lord. Mike and his team, we've long believed in them and what they were doing, but for the most part, it was just part of our ability to give back to a lot of different ministries, and prison was certainly one. We knew Hebrews 13:3 was always something that was on our heart to make sure we don't forget those in prison. But it really was a few months back, my father, who was now spending the kind of last season of his career in running our foundation, had committed to cooking steaks for a banquet out at Grafton that Mike and them were doing. And so we were obviously supporting as we always did. And he calls me up and he says, "Hey, do you think Tyler, or your new artist, would be interested maybe in playing here?" And I was like, "No." No offense, Dad, but we're investing a lot of money to launch. We're moving him and his family to Nashville. We're releasing our first song. We're doing all this. But I'll call him and just see, I don't know. He's in Portland, Oregon at the time. And that's where the Lord began his project. And Tyler turned around and said, "I'm there. Just tell me where."
So wait, okay, you got to take us to that phone call. So you call up this up-and-coming country artist that you're moving to Nashville, and you say, "Hey, by the way, let's go perform at a prison in Ohio." And
Yeah,
he said,
"I got the best gig in the world for you. It's the first one. We're ready to go. It's in a prison." And
what did he say to that?
So this is when we knew we had the right guy for us in a much bigger light. But he said, the name of our record label is Impact Records. And he knew when we signed him, the whole reason we launched it was we wanted to make an impact in the world using world-class music. And he's a world-class artist. So he kind of knew that's who we were. But he just said, "Man, wherever we can go make an impact, I'm in. Just tell me where to be there."
Wow. And now, Mike, you've been connected with prisons here in Ohio for many years, and you've been working in ministry. How do you who do you call if you're like, what we should do? We should have an artist from Nashville come and do a tour of all the prisons in Ohio. How do you even start that conversation?
Yeah, that was a challenge because when Steve proposed the steak roast, it was just going to be a banquet. And 2 weeks before the banquet, he calls me and said, "If I can get my son to fly his artist up here, can you arrange for a concert?" So I had 2 weeks to pull this off. But the warden of Grafton, Keith Foley, who you met with the warden at the time, approved us on very short notice. And then after we did the initial concert and the impact, talk about the name of the record, there was 200 men in that room. Everyone was crying. There's a song that Damon helped write called "The Love of a Son," which allowed Damon to tell the story, had everyone crying in this room. And then a week later, Damon called me and said, "Hey, we want to do this, but we want to do like 10 more of these. And we want to do these for the entire prison systems. And by the way, we'll do a cookout for the whole prison and their staff while they're there."
It's not a real profitable model, by the way. I mean, I'm not a businessman, but
I did learn it's pretty profitable for some of the prison's food systems.
Yeah.
But short of that, no.
So tell us the story about the song from your artist.
So when we were first introduced to Tyler Conti, by the way, is his name. We were looking at, do we want to sign him? What is he about? He's an unbelievably talented guy. He's been doing music a long time. But I asked him to share his story with me because, again, our mission isn't just music. It's impact through music. And I said, I got to be inspired by you. Like, it's got to be more than just a great voice. There's a lot of great voices, right? And he told me his story. And, coming from no dad, tough neighborhood, rough upbringing, age 17, got signed by David Foster, Universal Records, went out on tour, was a big deal at age 17, and then got addicted to crack. Overdosed, should have been dead. And so his story of not having a dad and then having a son that changed his life. So there's a really powerful story behind his dad. Never knew him, was suicidal at one point, called him up. He went to see his dad, saved his life. They reconciled over the years. And so then his son helped him get sober and change his life forever. And then he tells the story in rehab about how the Lord spoke to him and how he found the son. And just right at that moment, there was an inspired moment that really the love from a son has saved a lot of people. It saved him, it saved his dad, and then saved us all. So we came up with the idea of a 3-verse song that would tell his story and give a platform. So in the prisons, ironically, we end with that song, and he shares his testimony in that song. And there's a lot of men in the prison, certainly women as well, but a lot of men that can relate, to not having a dad, to having a kid that maybe you need to get back in line with, but certainly the power of the love from the son and how it can save you and redeem your life. So it's a powerful moment when we do it.
Now, Mike Swiger, how common is it for a group of 200 incarcerated people to start crying?
It never happens. A prison, you've been to prison. It's a very hard place. No matter if you want to cry, if you have a death in your family, you don't cry. You don't show weakness in prison. But that song was so unexpected because he did this incredible concert, multiple genres, shared a part of his story. And I mean, we were allowed to take pictures that day, and I didn't take pictures of the faces because the tears were raining. I didn't want to invade their spaces with the impact of that song because it resonates. Because when you start at the end, and then we close with the gospel at the end with an altar call. So the song prepares people's hearts. The whole concert does, but the song prepares people's hearts to hear the gospel.
Wow, incredible. 746, that was Mike Swiger. He's Executive Director of True Freedom Ministries. Also with us in studio today, Damon Mintz. He is owner of Impact Records, and we're talking about how they are in the midst of Rock the Yard concert series this summer, where this artist, Tyler Conti, is touring Ohio prisons.
Yeah, and it's not just Tyler. He's bringing the whole band from Nashville is here. So they travel with the full touring band. We've done 4 concerts so far. We have 3 coming up next week in Northeast Ohio. And talk about the profitability. Of course, it's a free concert because the guys have no money. And this is the outrageous generosity of the Mintz family. This is costing them, every show cost them tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow. Well, if you need an opening act, Lauren is warming up right now as we speak.
Yes.
She's quite the interpretive dancer, and I bet that'll have an impact. It's 7:47, time for a quick break. We'll come back and talk a bit more about this really unique situation in Ohio prisons happening right now.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten.
Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-659-9838. That's 1-800-659-9838.
We have an exciting invite for you. Visit Moody's campus in the heart of downtown Chicago this fall for Experience Moody, our campus visit day. Experience life as a Moody student, attend classes, go to chapel, meet with students and advisors, and explore our world-class city. Learn more about whether Moody is right for you or your student. If you can't make the in-person visit days, we'd love to visit with you online. Learn more about any of our campus visit options at moody.edu/visit.
Keeping your eyes on Jesus in a changing culture can be difficult. Let us help. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio, Cleveland.
7:49. If you're just tuning in studio with us, Mike Swiger, Executive Director of True Freedom Ministries, one of our favorite guys. He comes in regularly. Also, Damon Mintz, owner of Impact Records out of Nashville. We're talking about the Rock the Yard concert series where an artist from your label, Tyler Conti, is doing a tour of Ohio prisons. And it's out of the wonderful generosity of the Mintz family and somebody, though, who might be more punitive in their view of incarceration, Mike, would go, whoa, 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 whoa. Why should we let incarcerated people hear a concert? They shouldn't be having fun like that.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. There's such a big punitive view of incarceration, which is not the model, by the way. It was not how the penitentiary started. The punishment is to be in prison, be separated from society for a long period of time. Once you get to prison is where the rehabilitation is supposed to be taking place. All we're doing, as Damon mentioned, we're visiting those in prison as if we were their fellow prisoner. We're bringing them hope. In this case, we're bringing them the gospel. And because of how difficult it is to bring food into the prison, to have a real cookout in a prison, it shows the men that we love them.
And that's so important for followers of Christ to do that. What did you hear from incarcerated people after that first big concert that Tyler Conti did?
Well, the one we did in the steak roast back in March, their family members were on Tyler's website thanking him for sacrificing his time and to go in and minister to the men. I mean, we had pictures with Tyler with the guys. They're hugging him. It was just an overwhelming impact because here's a guy who's not making any money, not making any publicity, sharing his time and his talents with them sacrificially. And that resonated hugely.
Now, Damon, if your artist was here with us, what would he say was the impact on him from that experience in March?
Yeah, we were just talking about that on one of our meetings the other day. And as much as the impact for these inmates, I think, was powerful, it's changed Tyler as a guy. He's not, and he'll be the first to say it in any of the shows, he's not a prude. Tyler, you grew up on the streets, right? He's seen his day. He always jokes around. He very close. Probably could have been in the same situation many guys were. So I don't think that was as much the impact as what he saw is the same thing that we saw, but he gets to see it from the stage. He gets to see every eye in the room. We're seeing it maybe from the side, and that is that these are people.
Yes,
and they're connecting with him in a way that gives him a platform. And make no mistake about it, we're there for two reasons, and he is driving that message home. And the first one is to just let them know we care. We're not there to tell them about their crime and whether they should be or how long they should be or how they should be. We just want them to know somebody cares. Because when I introduced Tyler, I asked that question: how many of you feel like nobody cares? And every hand goes up, right? Yeah. Secondly, is we're there to on the mission for Christ to let them know that regardless of what they've done, Jesus loves them and has a plan. And that plan could be in prison or when they get out. And Tyler tells his story in that. So he's a very different guy, but he just relates well to people who have had a tough story and want a redemptive side to it.
And it would seem to me, I mean, I'm no expert in it by any means, but country music seems to be a real friendly place to someone who loves Jesus. And so I'd imagine this would only help his career in some respects, right? And having a song about Jesus is not weird.
No, that's why for him, country was where he found his voice. He tells the story. It was hard because a lot of the guys from the R&B, rap, pop world, they don't see the same thing. And he had to make that decision that he was going to do that. And he's written a lot of number one hits in the industry. And so, that was tough for him. But for us, we said most people get famous. They use their fame for some form of philanthropy. But we wanted to use our philanthropy to create some form of fame. Be who you are before the fame, and nobody will question your heart. So we said, we're going in first. Yeah, we expect Tyler to be a top country artist. His music is incredible. We've got a whole album that we're releasing over the next 6 months. But before anybody knew him, they will know he cared enough to go in and serve those in prison. And I think that'll be the best thing he ever did.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Lauren and I, through Mike and our friend Pastor Scott Lessing, have had a chance to visit at least one prison here in Northeast Ohio. And it is a transformative experience. You would say it changed you, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did it change you? I'm putting you on the spot.
I think, kind of like you said, Damon, they're just people, and we've a lot of time demonized them into not being human anymore.
Yeah. And I think movies do a terrible job of depicting what prison is like. I know it's not a great place and nobody wants to be there. But around believers in prison, I just felt so comfortable. Sometimes more comfortable than I would visiting a church. I know it sounds crazy, but
yeah, that's where you see the church universal. The body of Christ is alive and well inside prisons. They're a part of our church universal. The same love of Jesus Christ, the same discipleship that takes place at Parkside Church and at Grace Church in Middleburg Heights happens inside every prison in Ohio. So when you have those connections, they're just your long-lost brothers you've never met yet.
So if somebody listening, Mike Swiger, wanted to pray for or support in some way this concert series this summer, knowing the ministry and the gospel will be presented through this artist, Tyler Conti, in the midst of this tour around the prison system, how can they be supportive of what you're doing?
Well, this is where I'll hand this to Damon. Damon, the Mintz family has a foundation, which I'll let you talk about, and how people can help support.
Yeah, so our foundation is called the TMG, which is the Mintz Group Cares Foundation. So our main businesses that allow us to do everything we do, we own about 20 different companies called the TMG companies. So God's blessed us there a ton to be able to create our foundation and do things like this. And so my daughter Morgan is heading up this initiative with us. So anybody that wants to, we've agreed to underwrite this. If nobody put a dime in, it's already done. But it is so much more powerful when you have some ownership. So anybody that's interested, Morgan, Morgan, at tmgcaresfoundation.org. We'd love to hear from you. We're matching every dollar in. It's about $150,000 to do this tour. We've committed to it, but again, we'd love to have anybody that wants to help be a part of it, or we're going to do more. It's not over here. We know we can make an impact in a lot of ways, so we'd love anybody's support would be great.
Now, if somebody wants to learn more about your artist, Tyler Conti, who's doing this, maybe even hear that song you're talking about, how can they learn more about Tyler and his music career?
Yeah, so you can go to Spotify. We've released 2 songs out so far. We have 3 more coming out in the next month. So just on Spotify, search for Tyler, Conti, or TylerContiMusic.com is his website, or ImpactRecords.com, which also has links to all of his music. But yeah, he is an incredible artist. My brother, I got to give him a shout. My partner, Judd Mintz, my brother in the record label, built a relationship with Tyler for years and brought him here. And because of Judd and what Mike and True Freedom are doing, we're growing a kingdom in a big way and making a huge impact. So we're very blessed.
Is that song that made all the inmates cry, is that released?
That was released on Father's Day.
Oh, boy, you did that on purpose.
Well, yes, we did.
And that's on Spotify.
That is on Spotify.
What's it called again?
Love from a Son.
Love from a Son. Okay, and incarcerated guys listening, don't listen to it yet. Wait to hear it live. Wait to hear it live. Mike, talk to folks about True Freedom and how people can pray for this concert series this summer.
Yeah, please. The dates are June 23rd at the Women's Prison in Cleveland, the 24th at Grafton Correctional, and then Grafton Reintegration on the 25th. So
you said June, but you mean July.
July, excuse me. July 23rd, 24th, 25th. Pray for a harvest of souls. Pray for good weather. We do these outside on the yard. That's what we call it, rock the yard. We've had bad weather. We've had that move inside last minute inside of a gymnasium. So pray for good weather. Pray that God will prepare the hearts of not only the residents, but the staff members who also hear. We minister to everybody from the parking lot to the chapel when we're there. So we want to impact the staff as well. So the cookout is not just for the residents, but it's also for the staff.
Wonderful. And True Freedom Ministries, we love the work that you all are doing. You've been so gracious to us. How can folks learn more about True Freedom Ministries?
Yeah, please. Our website is truefreedomministries.com. There's tons of videos and testimonials of the work we're doing. We need more volunteers. We have a big family reintegration event coming up on August 3rd. We need volunteers for that. So if you want to come in and just see what we do, there's an opportunity coming up just in a couple weeks.
TrueFreedomMinistries.com. All right. Again, Damon Mintz from Impact Records, Mike Swiger, Executive Director of True Freedom Ministries. Thank you both for your time today and for the cool series you're doing. I'm hoping I can get in. Mike and I have talked about this, and I can see one of these shows firsthand.
That'd be great.
And then maybe throw Lauren on stage beforehand to get the crowd warmed up.
We invite some folks to come up, Lauren. I don't know. Sounds like a call-up.
Nothing.
It's gonna look at this. We got a yes already.
No, I can't be there.
Oh, your son's being busy. I understand. Thank you both. God bless you.
Thank you.
It's 8 o'clock. It's time for Ron's News. Today's Moron Moment. And then Dave Szfranski, president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group, will be with us to answer your financial questions. Call or text with those right now. 440-546-2255.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
A Federal Reserve governor says it's getting closer to cutting interest rates. It's 8 o'clock. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. Christopher Waller hinted the Fed expects a rare soft landing of the economy unless there are any major changes in inflation and employment numbers. The Fed has balked at any rate cut while inflation remains high. A grand jury is declining to indict a woman who has been accused of killing her boyfriend in Trumbull County. The incident took place last January when Kristen Schmidt allegedly shot and killed Michael Cusick. Schmidt admitted to shooting Cusick, but she said she had no choice as Cusick was attacking her during a domestic violence attack. And legal immigrants can now become teachers in Pennsylvania. This comes following the passage of Senate Bill 700, which states that those who are lawfully and legally eligible to work in the U.S. are now eligible to become certified as a teacher in Pennsylvania. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
Deciding to homeschool is brave. The journey will be rich and rewarding, but it's also often exhausting and lonely. Here comes author September McCarthy with biblical wisdom, personal stories, and a treasure of insight in her book, Hope for Your Homeschool: How to Create a Culture at Home That Fortifies Hearts and Sharpens Young Minds. She'll build you up while helping you avoid burnout. Hope for Your Homeschool. Start strong, stay the course, and finish with joy. Available at moodypublishers.com.
In sports, NFL training camp is just around the corner. The Browns have their rookies reporting on Monday, with veterans scheduled to appear on Tuesday. And for the Steelers, they kick off their mandatory practices next Wednesday. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Partly cloudy this morning, then becoming mostly sunny with high temperatures in the mid-70s. At last check, clear skies now in Cleveland at 68 degrees, Akron and Canton clear and 64. Mostly cloudy in Lorraine, Elyria, and the temperature is 66 degrees.
It's time for your Moron Moment.
Nelson Mandela has many accolades. He's an iconic figure that triumphed over South Africa's apartheid regime. He was a human rights lawyer, a prisoner of conscience, and an international peacemaker. And he was the very first democratically elected president of a free South Africa. So you see why the United Nations General Assembly would want to celebrate his life. Commemorated on July 18th, Nelson Mandela's birthday, Nelson Mandela International Day celebrates the idea that each individual has the power to transform the world and the ability to make an impact. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 8:03 with Moody Radio News. I'm Ron Eastwood.
a teens community is on Snapchat or on TikTok. And so how would you go about like having both? Like I would want my child to have their community. I don't want them to feel left out. I want them to feel like they're connected. But also there is so much harm in social media. How can we have both?
Honestly, when you give your child Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is you're going to give them in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, whenever you're going to do that, does that automatically, magically make them so happy and so loved? I mean, it really, truly, if we're honest, it does the opposite, that all of a sudden now it opens up this whole world of like, oh my word, I thought I was good looking, but now I see like a gazillion people who are better looking than me. Is that trait of drama and pain and constantly measuring themselves, is that pain worth it?
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
The opinions expressed during this program represent the opinions of the participants and is given for informational purposes only. Any information provided is not intended to replace professional advice for your specific situation.
It's time for David Szfranski, president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group, here to answer your financial questions. Give us a call or a text, why don't you?
Holy power.
Huh? Yeah, timing was perfect today.
Did you practice that?
No, it just all came out.
You practiced that.
No, I didn't. No, you didn't see me reading anything. I was just looking at myself in the camera.
How gross.
He motivates himself.
It's like, oh boy, I'm inspired by myself.
Your sash looks great, Brian.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. You all have your sashes on.
Yes, of course. It's Thursday.
Ron?
I'll grab
Ronald.
it in a second.
Ronald.
On Thursdays, we wear sashes.
Yes.
Did you know I had a new one? I had a sash. New one.
You're the odd one out today.
Yeah. I'm going to wear it next week.
That's what you said last week.
I did say that.
Somehow Lauren was given the authority to pick everyone else's. Everyone's
Because he
got a
texted
cool
me.
one except me.
Because he texted me.
Ron
so-
says more Ron. Duh.
Obviously.
Daria says Queen of No. Obviously.
Dame of No.
Oh, yeah. Dame of No.
She's high maintenance, by the way. We've determined that. She's
Oh,
so
yeah.
high maintenance. I did not see that one coming. I thought if there's one person in the world that's not high maintenance, and then I was proven wrong.
Oh, no, they started.
Yeah.
A queen of everything is Lauren. Mine says princess. And Lauren makes me wear it every week.
I met Lauren's husband this weekend, and I was a little surprised.
Okay.
It's a little
Unpack
surprise.
that, as we say
Yes.
in Christian radio. Unpack
Well,
that, David.
I thought he would be a little bit more timid, like afraid. But he wasn't. He had a confidence level that surprised me.
I told Dave, if there's anyone that's timid in a relationship, it's me.
Yeah, Eddie, it doesn't...
Like he's always afraid to get hit, like a dog that was beaten.
Yeah, he doesn't... I mean, he knows how to work with you.
Yes, he does.
That's good. That's good. You guys have a great relationship, I could tell.
And she was the one who essentially proposed to him as it gets
that's
as
right.
it gets to it.
He was just
love
dragging
you,
his
and
feet like guys tend to do.
No.
We weren't dating.
They weren't dating, and he looked at her.
Oh, you weren't even dating.
He was dating someone else.
She
Of
looked
course.
at him on a rooftop in Chicago, twinkle lights, mist,
Yeah, because
Yes.
Brian was there lurking.
and she said, "I love
Like
you, and I don't want to do life without you, Eddie."
But you were dating somebody else.
No, he was.
He was.
Mhm.
Okay. How did he take that? Well, he married you.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right,
worked
so-
out for me.
But the longer version of the story would be he totally missed the message somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh yeah, love you too."
Love you too, pal. Punch my arm.
You
Did he
were,
really
he was
punch
in the
your arm?
friend zone.
Yeah,
The friend
exactly.
zone. Yeah.
But now we have to throw the brakes on here, back up a few steps.
Don't you mean pump the brakes?
I don't
Throw
drive.
on the brakes.
Throw on
The
the
car
brakes.
didn't
Forgot
have
to
any.
put them on. Hang
No,
on.
it's me doing one of those moves with the e-brake.
Oh,
Oh, I was thinking like
Where
the
you-
Flintstones.
yeah, I like that.
Flintstone, they're pretty cool. Yeah, that's me.
There we
That's
go.
Brian pumping the brakes.
Daria's high maintenance. What do you mean by this, David?
Well, apparently, if Daria orders a hamburger in a restaurant
Yeah.
and they accidentally put a pickle on the plate and it touches the bun, we need the manager. Where's the
Can't even
manager?
touch.
Yeah.
I don't like pickles. I don't like vinegar. It's usually my fault though, because I usually forget to ask for no pickles, so I just pick it off and suck it up, even though I'm not happy.
So
Sir, this pickle has touched the bun. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next, but
yeah, excuse me. I feel like a pickle was near this bun. I can smell
I
a
can
whiff
smell
of pickle.
the pickle.
yes.
I don't like the smell of pickles either.
Jimmy, take care of this.
Poor Jimmy. Poor Jimmy.
Jimmy's amazing. I helped him move, and that guy, he stayed in the truck, and he had every item, every box memorized
Oh, wow.
from inside the house. And we would just go, "What do you want now, Jimmy?" He's like, "Go upstairs, take a right, and there'll be a box with this on it. Pick that up and bring it down to me." And then
He's pretty great.
He filled up a truck that should not have been filled as much as it was, but it was like he took it. He was playing Tetris, and he won.
There are people like this. I'm not one of them, but I know a few people. If you're moving, you need those people there to make sure that you don't have to take 7 trips.
Oh, Jimmy is that guy.
Jimmy is that guy.
That's awesome. You're
Jimmy is
blessed.
that guy.
I am. The running joke is I cannot pack a car to save my life. I am really bad with spatial awareness. Ergo, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, just throw it in there.
It's fine.
And you
It's
have
fine. Stuff gets
pickle
squished.
issues, too.
And I have pickle issues. And he likes my pickles. I take the pickles and he eats them, so it all
See,
works
there's
out.
always.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
Aw.
also talked yesterday about how it took you a year to figure out how to make potatoes, and Jimmy ate raw potatoes and didn't complain
is a little
for
hard.
a year.
Basically, yeah.
Ouch. Poor Jimmy.
Raw potatoes are crunchy.
Hashtag pray for Jimmy.
Pray for Jimmy.
That's how much
Still
he
tastes
loves
like a
her.
little dirt.
He'll eat a raw potato and be like,
Now we
good,
joke.
This is
Daria."
great,
Now
honey.
we joke about it. He says the only bad meal you ever made me was that one time you made potatoes.
See,
The first time LaVon made me a meal was a breakfast meal at her parents' house, and she burned everything.
Aww.
she was nervous.
Yeah.
The
I'm
first meal
pretty high
my-
maintenance.
The first meal my mom made
Ye-
for my dad
obviously.
was lasagna, and it was soup.
Oh.
And LaVon is a really good cook. So
For clarity's sake.
Who's
Yeah,
nervous?
she's a really good cook. Yeah.
You burnt the toast.
As you could tell, I'm not starving to death.
I wasn't going to say it. All right, 440-546-2255. What are your financial questions for David Szfranski, president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group?
Everyone cover your ears. Why is the Fed chair talking about lowering interest rates when they haven't hit the 2% inflation rate?
Pow! Oh, I stepped on Henry, didn't I?
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's hear Henry. That kid is going to be a powerful economist, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Chair Powell, otherwise known as Chair Powell.
No warning.
He is talking a lot about lowering. Well, they're not talking a lot about lowering interest rates. They're talking a lot about hitting the targets. And what they're saying is, look, if we wait till we hit the target to lower rates, we're probably too late. And they love to talk about the soft landing. And Ron talked about it in his news. There's a Fed president, Waller, who's talking about soft landing. Their idea of a soft landing is totally and utterly misguided. And what they've done is they've created this illusion that a soft landing means no recession. But the soft landing that they're talking about is accepting price increases of 25%. That's not going to change. And inflation isn't going down. It's rising at a lower rate. So we're going to live with the inflation that we've had, where it's almost impossible to go to the grocery store and get enough food without putting something back. We're making economic decisions now where people are putting things back on the shelf. And that's considered the soft landing. So I am in total disagreement with the Fed chairman right now about what a soft landing looks like. And they made a calculated decision not to create a recession and bring prices back down because that's kinder and gentler. To whom, I ask? Who is that kinder and gentler to? If you're on the economic margins, if you were just barely making it 3 years ago, what are you doing now? You're making way less money and things cost more. That is not a soft landing to me, but that's what we have. And so what they're saying is if we get the rate of increase closer to 2%, they're going to lower rates. I think they're going to lower rates in November. If they do it before November, it would look political and it's going to have no impact. And so they get a lot of grief for no bang for the buck. And so they've got to wait. There's a Fed meeting that starts the day of the election, November 5th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they're going to announce a decision November 6th. And I think that will be the first rate cut. It doesn't make any sense to do it before then. Unemployment isn't skyrocketing. Now, there are a lot of cracks in the economy. For instance, I read the other day that evictions are through the roof in some cities. And it's starting in the most expensive areas, and it's going to work its way across the country. Credit card debt, all-time high. Credit card delinquencies, all-time high. All these things are playing a role. So, yes, they are going to lower rates. They're talking about lowering rates mainly because they're getting closer to that 2% increase that they so long for. In the Trump administration, we were trying to create inflation. They're so worried that if you're at like 0.5% inflation, you're too close to deflation. And deflation also an insidious problem because what that means is you bought your house for $100,000. Now you can't buy a house for $100,000. I'm just picking a number that's easy. And you go to sell it 3 years later and it sells for $90,000. Well, we don't want that either. So what we've accepted is going to have a little bit of inflation. But the problem is it got so out of hand so fast and they couldn't control it. And now we're going to live with it. That's their soft landing. I think it's totally misguided, and I disagree with it 100%.
8:17, time for a quick break. Dave Szfranski with us, president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group, ready to answer your financial questions. You got to call or text with him, though, 440-546-2255.
Moody Radio is thankful for listeners and support from businesses like Duma Meats and Farm Market. Duma Meats and Farm Market, supporting Moody Radio in Cleveland and surrounding areas. More information about Duma Meats and Farm Market is at dumameats.com.
Ever wondered if there's a way for Christians to meet their healthcare costs affordably and efficiently? A biblical lifestyle alternative to traditional healthcare options? The answer is Christian Healthcare Ministries. They've enabled believers to live out their faith while embracing a voluntary health cost ministry for over 40 years. It all starts with a visit to chministries.org/Moody to see how CHM meets values and healthcare costs. Get more information and have your questions answered at chministries.org/Moody.
Attention, attention please. Who here is a fan of Moody Radio? Wow, that's a lot of hands. Now, raise your hand if you have never taken the opportunity to support Moody Radio with a gift. Wow. Many hands make light work. If we all give something, the needs will be met. Thanks for giving us a hand.
Give right now by going to moodyradio.org/Cleveland. Thanks so much.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
President and founder of Edgewater Investment Group. Get your financial questions in, 440-546-2255. He's putting on his reading glasses. We're getting very serious
You
here.
need those.
No, I don't.
I beg to differ.
He wears glasses.
that he lifts up half the time so he can read.
My optometrist said that it's a choice.
Oh, she's being nice to you.
You chose poorly.
Excuse me.
Yes,
He said,
Doesn't
do
matter.
you want them? And I said, oh, really? I get to pick? He goes, yeah, it's a preference issue. Do you want them? And I
Well,
said,
yeah, they can't
no.
tell you must get these glasses.
It's
they're
not
like
communist.
It's not a
yet.
life-saving thing. It's not like you're going to have major complications if you don't take this pill. It's glasses.
You literally can't see.
I would like to maintain a certain period of time in my life when someone can go, hey, do you have bifocals? And I can go, no.
No one's going to ask you
I
for
don't need 'em.
bifocals.
Why would I have bifocals?
Over a certain age, you just kind of assume everyone has them.
I have never in my life asked someone, do you have bifocals?
Well, maybe that's a millennial problem.
No, maybe
Is
it's
that
a
what
you
people do
problem
when they
that
get
you
older?
think-
They just
Yes.
go around talking about like, so when are you getting your bifocals?
Excuse me.
I think it's your problem that you think people are going to ask you that.
Or
So
care.
You're presuming that someone that's 45 we're just talking about our medical conditions now and the weather? That's what
No,
we
that's what you're saying.
Yes.
That's what you are saying.
Hey, Brian, could you take a look at this thing on my shoulder? What does it look like?
How you doing, Dave? Well, I don't know. The humidity's been getting to my shoulder.
I'm 45,
No,
so
that's
now
a
we're all
real
doctors.
thing. Yes.
Goodness gracious. All right, next question.
I have a 7-year annuity that matures next week.
Uh-oh.
It accumulated about $20,000 and wanted to know where to put the money to avoid paying taxes. An IRA or...
Well, if it's an IRA annuity, you can move the money out of the annuity into just a regular IRA and there's no tax. If it's a non-qualified annuity, which means it was just checkbook money that you gave, just came out of your checkbook, you put some money into an annuity, it grew $20,000 profit, and you take it out of the annuity tax law, you're going to pay tax on that. And this is it's called the annuity trap. I call it the annuity trap because if you have non-qualified money in an annuity and it makes money, you could never take it out of there without paying tax. And that's what I don't like about it. It's very inflexible in that sense. In an IRA, there's no tax in an IRA until the money comes out of the IRA. And if you keep it in the IRA tax law via a transfer to another IRA, there is no tax due. And you know how I feel about annuities, Lauren. We had this conversation.
Yes.
You know this about me, how I feel. How do I feel
I feel
about
scared even reading the questions.
Yes.
Like
if they say that.
one of your favorite investments is putting Bitcoin into annuities, as I recall. Isn't that correct?
That's not true at all. Don't give people that impression. But I find it funny that Lauren, you're not afraid of me at all.
No.
No, not at all, because I've had the look from you that
you're a little afraid of
pierced
Lauren.
The depths of my soul. Yeah, I
We
was
all
that
are.
day.
Yeah.
And for good reason. That's why I thought Eddie was going to be a little gun shy when I met him.
No.
Not at all.
How does he do it?
How
He
does
just
he do
doesn't
it?
deal with anything that I give him. He doesn't deal with it.
And you guys are not, sometimes you don't talk that much, right?
Lauren likes him.
You communicate in other ways.
What?
You don't talk. Like we've had times where like something very dramatic took place.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And I'll be like, what did Eddie say? She goes, I don't know, I haven't talked to him.
I didn't talk to him. I didn't tell him.
Yes.
And I was like, what do you talk about? And I think you just give each other looks.
I had this friend that, it wasn't really my friend. It was somebody else's friend. And she was a very strong personality, very strong personality. And then I met her with her husband one time, and it was totally different.
She was a different person?
100%. Even her voice was different.
Oh, wow.
Like, this is the strangest thing, or one of the stranger things I've ever seen. I can't say who or what or where or anything but it was, you weren't like that, though.
No, I'm the same person. He just deals with it.
Yeah.
Or doesn't deal with it.
He just takes
Doesn't
the
let
pain.
it bother him.
He takes the pain.
All right, ready to do the next question. I could go down that road for a while, but I'll leave it.
I have worked in the public school system and have around $12,000 in STRS. I recently got my teaching license and have to enroll in
STRS.
STRS.
Yes.
Can the amount I accrued in my STRS be rolled into my STRS, or can I do something else to invest the money?
Well, they probably are going to give you an option to roll that out of STRS, State Employee Retirement System. And they're okay systems. I mean, they were a lot better in years past. There's been a lot of, the STRS has been a program that has try to avoid being audited. They've overspent on. They take trips to Hawaii, for instance, as a group of the management. Why does the retirement plan need to go to Hawaii to have a conference? Can't you do that in Akron or Columbus, where they're from?
Not as
Columbus.
fun.
Well, no, it's not as fun, and it's not as expensive. And they are onto this thing though that government employees do this and governments do this. Pension plans do it. It's called OPM, other people's money. That's the best money to spend when you have OPM.
We all thought at first it was a real thing.
No, it is a real thing. OPM, other people's money.
Okay.
Would you rather, if you could go on vacation to Hawaii on your money or
No,
my
obviously,
money, which would
yours.
you rather?
Obviously. Yours.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you were sending us to Fiji for a morning show.
Do you know how long of a flight that is? You don't want to do that flight.
Well, if you put us in first class, it's no big deal.
Yes, it is.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
I
Run
feel
the
like
trip.
I'd be okay. Lauren?
Oh, I'd be fine.
It's decided.
Sometimes when I go to Hawaii, if I take the right flight, there's 3 meals in first class. Like, wow, I've actually eaten a full meal cycle on this plane.
I love it. Sometimes when I go to Hawaii,
Oh, look at
this
the shirt.
happens.
Yeah.
How many times have you been to Hawaii, Lauren?
0.
Ask me. Go ahead.
How many times you been?
0.
Oh, okay.
Ron?
1.
Oh.
It was a stopover on the way to Guam.
So you were just in Honolulu. You didn't even leave the airport.
Right, exactly.
Daria, Hawaii?
No.
All right. Well, sounds like we're all about the same.
Ask me how many times.
I don't want to.
Did you keep track?
No, it's the number's so big. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I
did you
worked
answer
there.
the
I
question? Did
worked
you
there.
finish it?
No, not at all.
Okay,
I got
so-
sidetracked. So you probably
Roll the stars
can.
into the stirs.
You probably can. No, I wouldn't do that. When you get a chance to unlock a retirement plan, I want to move it to my own IRA because you have all the choices in the world are available
Oh,
to
so
you.
don't roll it. Make a new one.
Well, you're going to take the money out of STRS
Yes.
and you're going to roll it to an IRA.
Okay.
And STRS, you're going to have to spend. The full retirement age for STRS now is a mathematical formula of years of service and age. My wife worked for 35 years in the state teachers retirement system, so she got a decent pension. But the thing about pensions that I don't like, if you just take a pension payment, let's say you're retired and your spouse, I'm never going to retire. I don't like the idea of retirement. It doesn't really thrill me. Love what I do, so I'm going to keep working. And I'm only 45-ish, so why would a 45-ish-year-old guy retire? But if you have a pension plan,
Brian's praying to retire.
if you have a traditional pension plan
Tomorrow.
where you're getting a payment and you've paid into that for 35 years, and you're doing what retired people in Ohio do, we drive to Amish country to look at oak furniture and admire Amish people. I don't know why we do that, but that's what we do. And you're not paying attention. You're looking at your U.S. cellular phone. What's that one that Ted Danson does, where it's all old people like, oh, I could save $4 on my cell bill. Anyway, you're looking at your flip phone and you hit a tree. You hit an oak. Now, the good news is the Amish people are going to make bunk beds out of that. So the tree is not dead. It's going to live on, but you're dead. Your pension plan is gone.
Oh.
It's gone.
Well, that was a long way to get to that.
Seriously.
Yeah, I know, wasn't it?
You can't just say
it took
that.
forever. I think I aged 3 years in that store.
Me too.
So in STRS, they have what's called a plop.
It's my favorite.
I knew you would love that. That's why I'm going. So the plop allows you to take some money of your pension plan out and roll it to an IRA, and that's what I would recommend that most people do.
Because then if you prematurely go on to glory, your
assume room temperature.
Your spouse or your beneficiaries can enjoy the benefits.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. 8:32, time for a quick break. We'll get to more of your financial questions for Dave Szfranski, president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group. 440-546-2255.
Helping you walk in the shoes of a missionary, this is Footsteps from TWR. Your host is Andy Napier.
Jason and Adina Helmholt and their 4 children serve as missionaries at TWR Bonaire, TWR's high-powered radio station in the Caribbean. Uprooting your family to a foreign mission field is not always easy, but God often demonstrates His love and faithfulness in unexpected ways, including a baby goat, right?
Ooh, Mickey.
Yeah, so we were doing summer camp with the kids out at a farm, or Kanuku, as we call it on the island. So it's just out in the middle of the cactus land, and all the kids found a little baby goat underneath a bush. So, of course, they all came to me, and they're like, Dad, can we keep it? Can we keep it? And I didn't know what to say, but I was like, yeah, sure. I have no idea how to raise a baby goat, but next thing I know, we've got a baby goat living in our living room for the first 2 months or so, and there's nothing more fun than a baby goat in the house. They're quite a bit of fun, but then we had to kick it out to the yard. But we had a lot of fun with that goat. It came just at a time the kids had about a month before school was starting, and that goat came and gave them something to keep their minds off of. We're going to go into a school that we have no idea what they're saying, what language they're speaking, and something to come home to from school. And God puts those things right into your life right when you need them.
We're bottle feeding this thing with goat's milk, and the little totes next to Jason's side of the bed every night. It's like having a newborn. Oh, it was such a joy, such a gift.
So, who's taking care of the goat now?
I have a good friend, and she said her husband and her want to start this goat farm. So we asked if she could relocate out to her Kanuku, and we get to go visit her all the time.
Great story. You can learn more about TWR's radio outreach from Bonaire when you go to twr.org/footsteps.
Footsteps is a production of TWR.
A lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 877-58-BIBLE. That's 877-58-BIBLE. 877-58-BIBLE.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Well, I love that jingle you did,
That's
Lauren.
really
Thank
snappy.
you.
It sounds just like you.
I made it all by myself.
Was it? Let's hear the acoustic version.
Oh, no, I think that one was good.
The acapella.
Yeah.
We need
No.
acapella.
Yeah.
Can you sing at all?
No.
She can. I've heard her do it.
What?
You sing over there
Oh,
when
yeah,
no one
sing
asks you
songy.
to.
Sure, yeah. I'm not doing it here.
Do a little Twinkle Twinkle for us.
No, thank you.
ABC?
Mm-mm.
That's a classic hit. Twinkle, twinkle.
Well, I don't know. You can do some
One for
Celine
the
us?
ages.
Celine Dion, maybe?
I won't do anything.
If this was karaoke, what would be your jam? Go.
I wouldn't.
Oh, I know that. Journey, Don't Stop Believing.
For you?
You cannot sing that high.
I could do it all.
You'd have to
I'm
sing
telling
it.
you, let's
You
go
could
do
do it all.
karaoke.
Octaves lower is what you'd have to do. Don't stop believing.
I'm telling you. So we were on vacation one time, and there's this lady. There's a loud restaurant outdoors though, so it was okay. And she's playing, and all of a sudden, Journey comes on, and I ran up on the stage and sang it with her. Yeah, I was spot on. Even my kid said, "I didn't think that you would ever hit that note." I'm telling you.
I feel like none of that's true.
It's totally true.
I'm hearing like squawking pigeons.
And I could do that because
Breaking
it was
glass.
like a Caribbean island where no one's ever going to see me again.
Well, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to be seen here every day, so.
Picture it didn't happen.
It did happen. Trust me.
Okay.
I am a trustworthy person.
Let's do this, Lauren, the jingle singer.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something else. Thoughts on Newsmax IPO as a good place to invest?
I've heard about the Newsmax IPO. I don't know exactly when it's coming out.
Like the news channel?
Newsmax? Yeah. They're going to be, so when Fox News, if you remember when Fox News first came out, it was kind of fringy. Newsmax is a little fringy. Certainly decidedly conservative in nature. It's the anti-CNN. Although I've watched CNN recently, and they have people on that are would be what I would consider counterintuitive for CNN. They're They really do have some people on there right now. There was a guy on the other night that he was a military guy, and I think the people on CNN were shocked at his commentary. So I think some organizations are kind of catching on. Like, you can't just spew one direction 100% of the time.
So then what would you do with investing in something like Newsmax that may not be trying to do that?
I think no matter what is coming public, no matter what it is, so take Newsmax off the table and just say, a company is coming public. Does it fit into your investment mix? Is it making sense to be part of your portfolio? And that's how I think we make investment decisions. I don't think, a new conservative. It's not just about making money, although we want to make money. It's also about, does it fit into what you're doing, your investment style? And some people want to do it because they want to support a more conservative news media, which I understand. I think that's a good thing to have balance of opinion.
But you have to think about that more as a charitable thing, right? As opposed to a sound investment, because not necessarily a brand new company is, in terms of its public trading, is not necessarily going to be a good investment.
That's right. Does it fit your investment thesis for you? Not just because you want something in your portfolio. It's got to be the right thing for you.
A portfolio thesis.
Yeah, I'm still working on mine.
Oh.
I also need 3 supporting points for my thesis, but that's a whole different story.
Yes.
20-page paper.
Weren't you writing a song about that?
Do you have an investment policy statement for your investments?
No.
Like an overriding theme that you're trying to achieve?
She might have a life verse.
Yeah.
Wow, no. Okay, next question. I've worked a regular job for approximately 22 years. I'm currently a subcontractor and do not pay into Social Security anymore. Will I still be able to draw Social Security based on my 21 years or so of service at a regular job?
Yes, because you only need 40 quarters to qualify for Social Security, which is 10 years.
40 quarters. Okay. Great.
Like if you had 40 quarters in your pocket, it would equal $10.
What?
40,
Can you say it again?
Let's say you had 40 quarters, currency.
Yes, yeah.
U.S.
Trains
currency.
are headed towards each other, one at 40 miles an hour.
No. Now, if you had 40 Canadian quarters in your pocket,
no.
It would be like 78
Just stick
US
with the one that
cents.
you were already explaining.
If you had 40 U.S. quarters in your pocket, it would be $10.
Okay.
Now, your pants would kind of sag to one
Too
side.
much, yeah.
There's a lot of
It's too many
quarters
quarters.
in your pocket. Well, in the same way, if you had 40 quarters of Social Security in your pocket, it would equal 10 years.
Okay.
And you need 40 quarters to qualify.
Okay, thank you. Why can't they just say 10 years? Whatever.
SSA.gov.
Yes, exactly.
Is what Rob would tell
Rob,
us.
Yeah, you can
I
set
bet
up
you'll
an
be
account.
texting in any moment now.
And it's really
I set
efficient.
up an account.
Yeah.
You can do it at any age. My daughter set up one. Lauren, did you?
No, I keep getting an error message.
Well,
I'm serious.
Oh, by the way, somebody hacked my LinkedIn account. And so if you're getting weird messages
I didn't know
from
people did that.
a very good-looking young lady who's we did address it yesterday, but some people have called me and said, "Is this you?"
No.
And the
Different
answer
Dave.
is no. Yeah. I think
Why are there so many Daves in finance? Jeez, you guys.
that's why
find a new name.
That's why I call myself Armando.
Is it?
They're all, I just saw 3 Daves in finance on LinkedIn. Okay, next question.
Yes.
I taught 5 additional years after I retired from teaching and loved it. I will receive my STRS re-employed benefits in August. It will be approximately $45,000.
Oh, hello.
Federal tax is 20%.
Hey.
Do you suggest I take this as a lump sum or roll it over to an IRA?
I would roll it over to an IRA. Absolutely. And then you could take money out. See,
Could you just donate all of it to Moody Radio instead?
Well, they could. They could absolutely
Pre-tax?
do that. No, because if they're not 73, they can't do a qualified charitable distribution. They'd have to remove it from the IRA and then donate it. But if you take money directly out of a qualified plan, like STRS or a 401k, they have to withhold 20%. Now, some of that you'll get back. That's why it's generally in your better interest not to take it directly from the qualified plan, but to roll it over to an IRA, and then if you need money, take it out of there, because then you could have the plan, the IRA, withhold your effective tax rate, whatever that is, generally less than 20%.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, this is a long question, so I'm going to pull it up over
Oh,
here for you. So
I'll
you
be
can-
napping.
So you can see. and I'm not smart enough to understand how to.
I'm already asleep.
To, make it better. Since I have stocks and CDs in my IRA, will my kids have to pay taxes on it as a beneficiary? How do I avoid this? How can I? Okay, let's just start with that.
It doesn't matter what you have in your IRA. When you assume room temperature, whoever your beneficiary is going to set up unless it's a spouse, now you can treat it as same as your account. So you could do that as a spouse. If it's a kid, a grandkid, a neighbor, they set up what's called a beneficiary IRA. They have 10 years to get the money out. And every dollar that comes out of a traditional IRA is taxable. Doesn't matter what the investments are in the IRA, it's going to be taxable to the beneficiaries.
Okay. And then can I pay taxes now without going into a higher tax bracket for my kids to avoid the higher taxes?
You could convert it to a Roth IRA. That's one thing that you could do. That's how you pay the taxes now. Convert your regular IRA to a Roth IRA. How it affects your marginal taxes really depends on how much money you make. So you can, I have a program that could show you exactly the best way if your intent is to convert your traditional IRAs to a Roth IRA. We put in some information about current income, all those things, and it gives you a schedule of how to convert that traditional IRA to a Roth and have the least tax impact. So that's what I would do. I would find one of those, and you could get these, you could Google this, and there's so much information. When I first got into business, it was, the real challenge was, where do I go get the information? Now it is, how do I discern from all the information that I have, what's the most important? We're flooded with information.
I thought the biggest problem was finding the abacus.
Yes.
Because you had to share one.
Yeah, I didn't even have a computer on my desk when I started. It was like 3 years in when we got computers.
So
I didn't have a
like
cell phone.
A pad of paper and a rotary phone?
Yes. Almost. Not rotary, but...
Touch tone.
There was a guy in my office who was very successful. And we used to make fun of him because he'd pick up his voicemail at the office on his cell phone. We're like, dude's only got 30 minutes a month. He had 30 minutes a month when he first... That's all you could talk. If you went over 30 minutes, there's a big surcharge.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
And cell phones were like the size of cinder blocks with an antenna that you had to pull out.
I bet you had one.
Of course I did. Your suit jacket would tilt. So you had to carry your day timer in the other pocket so it would even out. Because that was also like this big leather-bound thing that they made us have. What's your day timer?
You go planner.
You got your day timer? Yeah, I have my day timer. Here it is. Hold on, it's in my wagon that I'm pulling behind me with my cell phone.
It's like a giant planner?
Humongous. You'd write everything in there.
See, you sounded like the biggest nerd on earth.
Oh, well, I mean...
Correct.
I was in business.
Okay. He hesitated. It must be true. 8:46, time for a quick break. We'll get to more of your financial questions in a minute. Again, the number for Dave Szfranski, call or text, 440-546-2255. This is WCRF and Mornings with Brian.
Need a good book to read this summer? Download the free ebook by Alistair Begg titled The Hand of God today. In this book, Alistair explores the depth of God's providence by looking at the epic drama in Joseph's life in the book of Genesis. You'll discover the remarkable truth that God orchestrates the affairs of our lives, both big and small. Download the Hand of God free ebook today at moodyradio.org/Hand of God.
We'd love for you to help us fill a van full of school supplies to help the children at Laura's Home succeed this school year. Bring your school supply donations to Laura's Home on August 6th or 7th between 4 and 6 p.m. You can also stop by on Tuesday, August 6th from 6 to 9 a.m. to meet the Mornings with Brian team during our live broadcast at Laura's Home. For the list and location, text SUPPLIES to 440-546-2255 or visit our website, moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
More than ever, parents feel burdened to raise kids who are brave, resilient, and kind. In Strong Hearts, author Jill Garner cuts through modern parenting myths and trends for bold truth about what it will take to raise the next generation. Learn to champion self-respect rather than self-esteem, instill a heart of gratitude that nips innate selfishness, and develop grit. guts, resilience, integrity, and tenacity. Strong Heart, available at moodypublishers.com.
Get up, get ready, and get going. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
This is why you have to protect your marriage, because people can be that bold.
He's kept the principles the same without changing to what today's economy looks like.
When you actually help someone, you see the difference that you've made in their life.
What's going on online is at least a small indication of the heart of the culture.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Just a few more minutes. With, I didn't know that was coming. It didn't sound like it was going to happen.
No, that was surprising.
I was a little surprised by that. But anyway, I'm not surprised Dave Szfranski is ready to answer your financial questions here on the radio show, WCRF Mornings
He
with
just
Brian.
gave us a lecture for like 15 minutes, it felt like.
He kept answering a question. There was
kept going.
numbers and like acronyms.
I know. He just kept going.
Were you listening?
Yeah, I did listen. Did I comprehend? Not really, but I was listening.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I just go off on economic speak. Like everybody in the room is smart.
He
I'm
said
sorry. I assume that.
250,000 and 200 million, and JP Morgan Chase.
And FDIC.
She did
And
listen.
FDIC.
Community
and
banks.
The Fed's just not going to let that happen.
And SVB.
And SVB.
That essentially is what I heard.
I downloaded it.
You did. You listened.
I listened. I'm not sure I comprehend, but I got it.
Next time, choose a plop. Is what,
Next
is what I
time,
heard.
Stirs to plop.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, next
Okay.
question.
We are transferring our funds from Fidelity, where we were buying individual stocks, and moving everything to a capital choice investor and having him handle things for us. Do you know anything about capital choice, and does it sound like a good plan? We know very little about investing.
Well, I don't know anything about capital choice. I've never heard of that before. I think when you're making a big move like that, and one of the knocks against Fidelity and the really big companies that are online, every time you call there, you get somebody different. And does anybody really know your personal situation? And I am of the mind that when you're planning your finances, I don't know, for the rest of your life, I think it's a good idea to have somebody who knows that situation. And if the person that you're working with is developing a plan for you and you have a comfort level with them and they have experience, I think that's probably a pretty good choice. But I don't know this company in particular. And you trust your gut. It doesn't, if you get a weird feeling, it doesn't mean you make a decision on that, but I think you should pay attention to it. So if there's something that's awry and not on, just seems a little off, investigate a little bit more. Don't be afraid to offend people with questions. This is your money. If you make a mistake and somebody steals it all from you, it's gone. Now, if it's a big company, you get your money back, things like that. But in small companies, when there's fraud and deceit, sometimes you don't get paid back. I've seen frauds where there is no payoff at the end. There's nobody to take the court. They spent your money. They've hidden your money. And so it pays to be cautious on the front end.
Do you know of Old Glory Bank?
I don't know of Old Glory Bank, and this was the genesis of the
old,
long
actually,
and
an old
very
bank.
boring discussion that I
Had with yourself.
put you through.
Discussion.
Yes.
He was just talking.
It sounds like a community bank. People are afraid of community banks going out of business, but nobody has lost money from a community bank going out of business yet. And the FDIC and the Fed has made a decision to back banks up. And, every year about 100 banks go out of business that get taken over by the FDIC.
Bad.
It happens. There's a $250,000 FDIC insurance in Silicon Valley Bank, otherwise known as SVB. There were people that had hundreds of millions of dollars. Nobody lost money. I think the Fed and the FDIC, for the time being, have made the decision that nobody's going to lose money, but I can't guarantee that.
What qualifies as a great mutual fund or ETF? Or what percent?
Or what percent? What does that
In
mean?
terms of
I don't know.
percent yield, I would imagine.
I'm just reading the question.
But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they're saying what percent yield would make a mutual fund a good investment?
Well, there's thousands. There's I think quite
Billions.
literally billions and billions. There's a lot of great, beautiful mutual funds, ETFs. There's thousands and thousands of them. There's more mutual funds by far than there are stocks traded on exchanges. So I think you're looking at track record, you're looking at costs, all-in costs. Let's say you have a no-load fund that has a 5% internal fee. That's expensive. So I want to look at all-in costs. I want to look at what your goals are, and does that mutual fund or ETF fit into your portfolio for those goals? So what makes a great ETF or mutual fund is one that is right for you, that doesn't cost a lot. That's what I'm looking for, and has a good rate of return.
What are the advantages of an ETF?
Diversification. You have broad-based diversification like a mutual fund, and it trades like a stock.
Extraterrestrial fund, is that?
Exchange-traded fund.
That was close.
It trades like a stock, so it's immediate. And Now, a lot of people don't do this, but we do this. If you have an ETF that grows a lot and becomes a little bit more of a percentage of your portfolio than you initially wanted, but you don't want to sell it, you could buy options against it. You could buy options against an ETF. And I like that. It gives me some flexibility that mutual funds just don't offer. I like the fact that when I buy or sell an ETF, it's immediate, and I like that I can protect it with certain trades if I need to.
Can you get an ETF from the ATF?
Yes. No, you could get abused by the ATF. That's what they do right now. Yeah.
Okay,
How do you research an ETF?
The same way you would research a stock.
Yeah,
you go to Yahoo Finance is a pretty good source.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just figure the internet's a good place to research, but
the internet.
But like to find out if a particular ETF is a good investment, you can do that. You can find the information.
Yeah, you could go to Morningstar, you could go to Moody's, you could go to Yahoo Finance.
Not us, by the way. It's different, Moody.
It's a different Moody. Yeah, it's Moody's. Moody's. You could compare it against different. I have like 10 sources that I go to for research. And so I don't generally use publicly available information stuff.
Oh.
But you could use
fancy.
Well, I pay for it. You know, we pay for stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like to drill down. I like to get granular.
Double click, basically.
Yes.
Double click on that.
No.
Don't encourage him.
Please.
What? Double click?
It's a new corporate speak. You must not use it in your office yet.
I don't.
When you want to like drill down on something, get real specific, you say, let's double click on that.
Isn't that
Let's double click
so?
that. You got to use that at the office.
Don't say stupid, Lauren.
I won't.
You got to use
Trey
that at the
was
office.
listening yesterday when I talked about that.
Did they use that at Moody?
I mean, we use it here.
Yeah, you guys.
As of this morning, and we all told you no.
Yeah, we don't like it.
Let's double click on
I think
that.
we ought to double click on that.
Let's get a little bit more granular.
Yes, by double clicking. That's what that means. It's a bigger way to say that.
A better way.
Dave Szfranski is president and founder of Edgewater Investment Group. Special thanks to David for coming in today. We love having you here. And if you want to get your question to Dave or reach out to him, just come to us. Our number is 440-546-2255. That'll do it.
I think we should, after the show, just talk a little bit more about the Fed and SVB Bank.
Yeah, we could.
Hard pass.
Why don't we double click?
Let's double click on that.
Double click on that. And hey, I'll be at a live fest this weekend. Love to see you. Stop by our table. Where is it? It's in the marketplace. At that table they're going to put me at. So I'd love to see you there. Stop by and say hello. Got some cool prizes that you might win. And you'd be the coolest person at the whole fest with our sunglasses and fanny packs and everything. Lauren's trying to tell me to stop. It's time for JD.